injuries, but they were able to extend the series after what we thought probably should have been maybe at least 4 or 5 game series. We lost, I think, the first game, if I remember correctly, and then came back and won 3 in a row, coming home to win the 5th game, only to realize that winning a championship, even after all the experience we had, is not that easy. And then going back to Philadelphia for Game 6, and they trounced us in Philly. Now we find ourselves in a Game 7. And then once you get to a Game 7, anything can happen. You can get a bad break, an unlucky bounce, as we've seen in the past. And so everything's at stake, everything's on the line. And I think luckily for us, we're able to, really kind of rely on our experiences that we had in the past. We felt incredibly confident that if we went out and played our best game and Philadelphia went out and played their best game, our best was going to be good enough. But even with that, there was so much uncertainty. And sure enough, we're able to win our 3rd cup in 4 years, which was quite an incredible feat.
That was Hockey Hall of Famer and Stanley Cup champion for the Edmonton Oilers, Mark Messier, on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio's The Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin on Channel 91.
Mad Dog Sports Radio has the best sports talk in the business, covering sports with a passion and knowledge you need. Mad Dog Sports Radio, SiriusXM 86, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Sunday, April the 27th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 1 p.m., St. Louis Blues take on the Winnipeg Jets. Blues on Sirius 210, XM 219, and Internet 944. Jets on Internet 951. National feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 91. 3:30 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211, XM 220, and Internet 936. Hurricanes on Sirius XM channels 90, Internet 924. 6:30 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 934. Capitals on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 950. 9:30 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius 210, XM 219, and Internet 930. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, April the 27th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 1 p.m., St. Louis Blues take on the Winnipeg Jets. Blues on Sirius 210, XM 219, and Internet 944. Jets on Internet 951. National feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 91. 3:30 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211, XM 220, and Internet 936. Hurricanes on Sirius XM channels 90, Internet 924. 6:30 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 934. Capitals on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 950. 9:30 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius 210, XM 219, and Internet 930. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 932.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. Sirius XM, Channel 89.
New York Rangers legend and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier joined Scott Laughlin on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91, to share what it was like to play in the 1994 finals with the New York Rangers, as well as ending the 54-year drought for the franchise and how that team represented what a hockey team is all about.
Well, look, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about 1994 as well. You mentioned Mike Keenan. We spoke with him in studio a couple of weeks ago. He still speaks so highly of you and of that run. So take us back to ending the 54-year drought. In Game 7, you get a power play goal. You shovel a puck underneath of Kirk McLean. Stands up as the game winner, as it turns out. So take us back to that hot, steamy night. What was it, June 14th of 1994 at the Garden in New York?
Just, I guess just starting, going to the rink, trying to keep your same routine. Brian Leach and I would always drive together down through Times Square, down Broadway 7th Avenue to take a right-hand turn on 33rd Street. And You could feel things were different, even from the Upper West Side. Just the vibe and the energy of the whole city was just electrified. Getting down towards Madison Square Garden, seeing the crowd already starting to build, the police officers surrounding the garden. It was a carnival-like atmosphere. Obviously, we knew we were something on the cusp of doing something that hadn't been done in 54 years. The magnitude of it was palpable. I mean, the energy, just everything just seemed to be so electrified. You try to keep yourself in the moment. You try to stay with your routine. Obviously, there's a much more at stake. And then, we found ourselves, much like we did in 87, up 3-1 in the series, losing to the fifth game, where it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that New York Rangers were finally going to win a Stanley Cup after 54 years. Only to find ourselves, the party atmosphere got a little bit delayed and then had to go back to Vancouver, which again, we got trounced in Vancouver, just like we did in 87. And now we're coming home for Game 7. And the same thing happened. We felt good about our chances. We felt we were a better team than Vancouver. We felt that we should have wrapped up the series earlier against Vancouver, but that's the greatest thing about sports. You can think all you want, but the reality is they got a heartbeat over there too. They got pride over there too. They're there for a reason because they're a great team. And here we are in Game 7 and happen to go out and execute a great game plan to beat a very hungry, very young, very physical, hard team to play against in Vancouver. And luckily for us, we had a lot of experience. We had a dynamic, incredible amount of talent with Brian Leetch and Sergei Zubov, Alex Kovalev, Adam Graves and Mike Richter and net, and then sprinkled in with some veterans, some hardened veterans with McTavish and Tikkanen and Steve Larmer and Noonan and Mateau and Jeff Bukaboom and Jay Wells and all the amazing players that banded together that year to create maybe not the most skilled team that's ever won a Stanley Cup, but if you look up the word team, they could put the 1994 Ranger team right there, and that year, that team epitomizes what a team is all about.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio, SiriusXM 86.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Sunday, April the 27th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 1 p.m., St. Louis Blues take on the Winnipeg Jets. Blues on Sirius 210 XM 219 and Internet 944. Jets on Internet 951. National feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 91. 3:30 p.m. New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211 XM 220 and Internet 936. Hurricanes on Sirius XM channels 90, Internet 924. 6:30 p.m. Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 934. Capitals on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 950. 9:30 p.m. Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius 210 XM 219 and Internet 930. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, April the 27th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 1 p.m., St. Louis Blues take on the Winnipeg Jets. Blues on Sirius 210 XM 219 and Internet 944. Jets on Internet 951. National feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 91. 3:30 p.m. New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211 XM 220 and Internet 936. Hurricanes on Sirius XM channels 90, Internet 924. 6:30 p.m. Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 934. Capitals on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 950. 9:30 p.m. Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius 210 XM 219 and Internet 930. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 932.
SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 brings you expert analysis from former players, coaches, and executives, plus reaction to all the latest news on the only 24/7 station dedicated to the National Football League.
Six-time Stanley Cup champion and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier stopped by SiriusXM NHL Network Radio's The Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin to discuss what Game 7 means to him and what it's like to also lose a Game 7.
Well, when you think about the two greatest words in sports, you think about Game 7 for many reasons. Obviously, to get to a Game 7, both teams obviously very evenly matched from the literal sense, the Game 7. You don't have to be a sport fan to understand that something's big at stake and that you will go watch it even if you don't know the teams, you don't know the players, you don't know the backdrop, because it's the greatest form of reality TV in the world, because there is going to be a winner and a loser. A lot at stake, obviously. But for me personally, it's a lifetime journey to acquire the skill set that's required to be able to perform when the stakes are the highest, under the most scrutinized pressure, when you're expected to perform. And you think about a Game 7 moment or Game 7, that's when you have to perform. It's a winner or go home situation. And what are the skill sets that are required to do that? Obviously, we've practiced our game and honed our skill set for years and years and years, tens of thousands of hours of honing our skills. But emotionally, mentally, what prepares you to play in those moments and perform when you're expected to? That, I think, is what really defines a Game 7 moment for the players that have excelled in Game 7 moments. And what are those life lessons that we can teach our young boys and girls, and the skill sets required to do that? The breathing, it's being able to slow your heart down and your blood pressure goes up, and your decision-making is rash, and concentration varies because of all of it. What allows you to kind of really slow down and use your God-given talent, and then obviously the repetitions through your whole life that you know you can do it. You just got to be able to do it when it matters most. It's like hitting a home run, and like Aaron Boone did, or doing something special at the right moments. And I think the educational part of the docuseries is really fascinating to me there, to help our young boys and girls who will be faced with big decisions in their life. And you don't have to be a sport fan to have a Game 7 moment in life. Everybody's faced with decisions that are going to alter the trajectory of their lives in one way or another there. And we're trying to figure out what those skill sets are.
What does it feel like to lose a Game 7?
Fortunately for me, I never experienced what the Oilers did last year, of going all the way to the end in a championship game and losing in a Game 7. Anytime you get to a Game 7, it's a hard journey to get there. Two teams, evenly matched. It's been a war. It's been a tug of war. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's tired. And then to lose that is devastating. I think about my own experience in Game 7, winning 7 of them. The two still hurt to this day. What could I have done different? You always say that you got to lose in order to understand how to win. I do agree with that. I think there are lessons in loss and in failure, both as a team and as an individual. If I had my preference, I would have liked to have learned those lessons while I was winning. But unfortunately, that's just not the way it is. But I look back at it now and just think about how grateful I am for all the lessons in wins and the losses, because it really ends up defining who you are as a person and as a player.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM
Whether you're at home, the gym, your car, or the office, take TSN 690 with you. Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back inside the Bell Center. Here we are on a Sunday night for Game 4 of this best-of-7 series between the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals, with the Caps up 2-1. Victor Finlay with John Goyens on the call tonight after the Canadiens had their best chance to get back into the series on Friday. They did with a 6-3 win. They have a chance to draw even at 1-1 tonight. As let's go down to center ice and get you introduced to the players here for the pregame ceremonies and the starting lineups. Your PA announcer, Michel Lacroix.
The starting lineup. Le numéro 8, number 8, Mike Matheson. Le numéro 11, number 11, Brandon Gallagher. Le numéro 17, number 17, Josh le numéro 28, number 28, Christian Dvorak. Le numéro 45, number 45, Alexandre Carrier. Et le numéro 75, number 75, Jakub Dovas.
Game number 3, we hit a game high of 130 decibels off the Slavkovsky goal. That's the same level of volume as you get from a jet engine from 100 feet away. Let's see if we can do even better than that tonight for game number 4. Back down to ice level we go for the American and Canadian national anthems.
Mesdames, Messieurs, veuillez maintenant vous lever. Retirez chapeaux et casquettes pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux. Malgré les récents événements, nous vous demandons, dans l'esprit de ce grand sport qui nous unit, de respecter les hymnes canadiens et américains ainsi que les joueurs qui représentent fièrement les deux pays. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Remove your hats and caps for the singing of the national anthems. Despite recent events, we ask in the spirit of this great game that unites everyone that you kindly respect the Canadian and U.S. national anthems and the players representing each country. Veuillez accueillir, please welcome, Alexandre Sylvestre, accompagné alors par Diane Bibeau.
Whose was stripes and bright stars
to go from Bell Center as we get you introduced to the starting netminders for this contest tonight. We were wondering all day who it would be for Washington. Both Logan Thompson and Charlie Langren exited the ice at the same time this morning, but as we found out in the warm-up, it will be Logan Thompson going back at it for Washington after he was knocked out of the game after being run over by his own teammate Dylan Strome in game number 3. And for the Montreal Canadiens, no Sam Montembeault. He is listed as day today, so in steps Jakub Dobish. The 23-year-old from Ostrava, Czechia, became just the third Habs goaltender in franchise history to win a playoff game in a relief appearance, joining Rogi Vachon, who last did it in 1969, and Charlie Hodge back in 1955. To center ice we go. It'll be Dvorak, Anderson, and Gallagher starting tonight against Pierre-Luc Dubois, Connor McMichael, and Tom Wilson. As it starts off with a Washington face-off win, and they immediately shoot it in from center ice. It's over the glass and out of play, John.
The anticipation for this game it's just off the charts. You even look at the opening draw, we were talking off air. Could we see a start to the game like the Four Nation with Anderson and Tom Wilson lining up against each other? And it looked like one of the head referees was even jawing with them a little bit and kind of saying, let the puck drop and we'll see where it goes from there.
Neutral zone face-off won by the Canadiens. Carrier back in his own zone, works it up the far side. Here goes Anderson trying to cut in on the middle of John Carlson. That didn't work. Far side, Capitals control it. Connor McMichael out to center. Chips it in. Carrier back to his own end boards. Far side, Pierre-Luc Dubois. As this Canadiens crowd tries to get right on the Capitals early tonight. As Washington throw it around, near side, here's Matt Roy pitching in for the blue line. Into the corner, Matheson takes it away. Back behind the Montreal net. Matheson pressured by Pierre-Luc Dubois, and then he's run into by Wilson. As the puck comes out to center, it's picked up and shot in by Roy, delayed offside. And as the Canadiens will complete a line change and go in behind their own net. Suzuki onto the ice with Caulfield and Slavkovsky. This is tossed out to center by Matheson. Bounced in to the Washington zone. And a big hit at center as goalie runs into Brandon Duhaime. And that draws a big pop out of the crowd as the Canadiens shoot it in from the neutral zone. Here goes Slavkovsky near side corner. Puck comes loose behind the Washington net. Rasmus Sandin curls it around. Far side, Nick Dowd skating out to center, banks it in, off the boards, past Caulfield. Back behind the Montreal net, it's picked up out in front. Big swing and a miss from Alexander Ovechkin. As here goes Caulfield the other way to center. And he's pushed off the puck by Chychrun as he plays it in deep. Chychrun back up to the neutral zone. Fires it over onto the far side. Slammed into the Montreal zone. It comes around to the near side boards for Beauvillier, who's stapled to them by Nick Matheson. Battle for it now. Near side corner, Dylan Strome looking to corral it. He's got it by the hash marks to the line. Trevor Van Riemsdyk lays it down low. Puck carries around to the far corner. Alex Newhook on it. Over to Jake Evans. Back to Matheson. We've got just one stoppage so far tonight. 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the action. Still no shots. Matheson from behind his own net starts ahead to center ice. He'll backhand it in. Deep to the Washington zone it goes. Canadiens control behind the net. Yoel Armia back to the blue line. Jack-Eye moves it across. Savard, one-time shot, not stopped by Thompson off the deflection. And we're going to get our first penalty of the night as Thompson colored up. And as you can probably tell, this is going against Washington.
Washington, minor penalty, 27, interference.
So Alexiev to the box, Habs to the power play for the first time tonight. 2:45 in, brought to you by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, that looked like a simple box out by Alexiev, just picking up his man, and his man goes down, but they saw it as interference, so now Montreal's got to take advantage here. They've had a couple, let's call it the way it is, a couple of their power play goals last game. One was a fluky bounce, and one was a seeing eye pass that ended up on the stick of not the intended receiver. Now they've got to get back their clean mojo where they keep the puck in the zone and create. Spencer Carberry is fired up after that call, and I don't blame him.
Canadiens 3 for 9 on the power play so far in this series. As the Habs win it off the far side, here goes Hudson, works it over. Caulfield, one-timer. That's blocked by Brandon Duhaime. And the Capitals play it around to the far side as Nick Dowd will chop it out off the backhand all the way into the Montreal zone. Montreal were 2 for 5 in Game 3 on the man advantage. Capitals took 5 penalties to Montreal's 2. As here goes Slavkovsky down the left side. Down low, Caulfield with it. Looking up high for Hudson. That's broken up by Tom Wilson. Picked up at center by Ivan Demidov. Demidov skates in over the line. And that's nudged away by Washington. And they'll play it out to center ice. Lane Hudson back on it. He'll carry it into the Washington zone. This is broken up by Connor McMichael. Another clear for the Caps. 1:08 to go in the Montreal man advantage.
And this was an element of the PK for Washington, doing a really good job at stopping Montreal on the zone entries, or at least disconnecting their entries.
Now here goes Newhook. Speed over the line, passes off. Suzuki drops it back for Matheson. Suzuki again near side, works it in behind the net. Sandin to the far corner, spills Emil Heinemann. Able to muscle the puck free, and Washington will carry it out to center ice. Brandon Duhaime, far wing. Skates it in, tries a shot. That went off a stick and then wide of the net. Gallagher skates over to it. 28 seconds to go on the power play. Matheson up to center ice. He'll drop it. Newhook carries it over the line. Leaves it for Nick Suzuki. Down the wing, Suzuki passes back up top. Matheson to the far wing for Gallagher. Down low, looking for Newhook. Can't handle the pass. Newhook trying to grab it back for Matt Roy. Puck comes loose for John Carlson, and he plays it right off of Tom Wilson, but it does get out to center as the power play expires. Alexiev returns, and the Canadiens are 0 for 1 tonight.
Yeah, Washington applied a lot of times three-point pressure, taking away multiple options at once, and that got Montreal a little bit off their game.
5 minutes into the first period of play. Tied at 0 shots, 1-1. Canadiens back to their own zone. Here's Christian Dvorak. Drops it behind the net for Mike Matheson. Ahead to center. Good looking pass for Dvorak. Just missed the mark. Now he's got it though in the Washington zone. Back to the line. Here's a shot from Carrier. Turned aside by Thompson. Now Pierre-Luc Dubois to center ice. He's ridden into the boards by Josh Anderson. Have settled the puck down in their own zone. Caden Gooley will bring it in behind the net. No lineup changes tonight for Montreal, of course, in part from the starting netminder. David Savard was not a participant in morning skate today. He is in the lineup this evening. As the Capitals go back to their own zone, no changes for them either. As this is played into the Montreal zone, and it's going to be an icing. We wonder, John, if we might see Alexei Protas ready to go tonight. He took the morning skate and had a lengthy conversation with his head coach Spencer Carberry there, but obviously is not ready to suit up yet for the Caps.
No, and they're not gonna risk it. They're not gonna put anybody in the lineup. Listen, nobody's 100% at this time of year, but if you aren't at least 80%, there's no chance you're going in the lineup. You cannot be in the lineup dressed and potentially be a liability out there or not be able to execute at your rate. And if Protas isn't in, there's a good reason for it, and it's honestly good for Montreal because he brings a lot of offense at 5-on-5.
D-zone faceoff for Washington goes back to the line. Quick shot from Jackeye is scooped up by Thompson. Exactly 14 minutes to go in the first period, tied at 0. Another boisterous crowd, John, on this Sunday night.
Yeah, and this crowd's been building for a matter of almost 2 months, and this is their reward. You know, you get these 2 home games at home where months ago you didn't think or really believe that this was going to happen, and now it's here, and the fans inside and outside the building are really taking advantage.
Here's John Carlson behind his own net off the faceoff. Played ahead to center, Mangiapane. Moves it back to Carlson. Back go through the neutral zone now. Here come the Capitals, but they put themselves offside. And that'll send us to our first commercial break. And the first period of play. Scores tied at 0. Shots are 3-1 for Montreal on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
An unforgettable weekend awaits you for the 18th edition of Osheaga, presented by Bell in collaboration with Coors Light. With The Killers, Tyler the Creator, and Olivia Rodrigo as headliners. Experience the ultimate summer adventure with Gracie Abrams, Glass Animals, The Chainsmokers, Shabuzi, and many more. Join us in Montreal at Parc Jean Drapeau from August 1st to 3rd. Tickets on sale now at Osheaga.com.
Hey everyone, Adney and Verk here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch this movie because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheetah exhibit. The cheetah took a piece out of him, and he came into the ring the next day.
Tune in to NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Beer, chips, popcorn. Score big at your neighborhood Voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
We'll go back inside Bell Center. 13:47 to go in the first. Tie game, 0-0. John, we just saw a lengthy conversation there during the break between referee Frederic Lecoyer and the head coach of the Washington Capitals, Spencer Carberry.
It was pretty animated. It was there was a lot of pointing it back and forth. I think the message from Lecuyer was that you can't be barking back and forth, this and that, certain amount of respect. But we don't see Spencer Carberry that demonstrative, and he was fired up after that call. And I can't disagree with him. I think this is big boy hockey, and you can't be making those types of calls on a simple box out.
Canadians win the neutral zone face-off. That's banked ahead to center ice by Matheson. It ricochets right back toward him. He'll curl it around the boards for Anderson, who lifts it out to center ice. Chychrun backtracking, had to in a hurry with Brendan Gallagher all over him. He's able to get it out to center, where it's picked up by Mike Matheson. Carrier, far side, chipped in by Dvorak. Here goes Tom Wilson the other way. That's broken up at center. And the Canadians regain control as Gallagher tips it in. Thompson ventures out of the net. Plays it over to Chychrun. He'll backhand it out to center. That's kicked around into the Montreal zone. Rolling right in on Dobich. He's going to cover up with Wilson bearing down. That's going to draw a bit of a crowd. As John, Game 3 between these two teams was highly eventful, and it drew the attention of the National Hockey League offices, who gave a warning to both the Capitals and the Canadiens to try and cut out some of the shenanigans after the whistles, during the timeouts, and after the periods.
Yeah, especially after the period. Typically after the period, you might see a little bit of jawing, but the jawing went overboard, the physical encounters by many, and then it just poured into literally the bench, where, as we were mentioning Spencer Carberry earlier, he had to get out of the way so he didn't get trampled on by those two behemoths that were just going after each other.
Capitals win the face-off. Here's Sandin off the far side. Zipped one right through the crease. Goes all the way back for Matt Roy. But the Canadians chop it out to center thanks to Christian Dvorak. Now Rasmus Sandin. Up to center. Good pass right up the middle. Here goes Dylan Strome with a shot. That missed just on the blocker side of Jakub Dobich. As the Canadians start the breakout to center. Here goes Nick Suzuki. Off the near side boards and in. Bit of a funny bounce, but right to Alex Ovechkin as the Capitals come ahead to center ice. Puck is floated to the far wing by Strome as Alex Ovechkin went after Carrier and just missed him. It was a big collision along the boards. And so Ovechkin almost went into the bench himself, just missing carry. That could have been a lot worse for the Montreal defenseman. As the Habs collected from behind their own net, 12:05 to go in the first period. We're tied at 0.
Oh,
this is going to be whistled down for an icing.
Carey is shaking up big time.
Now, is that from the collision with Ovechkin, John?
No, I think it's just this last hit he took off the breakout.
Ovechkin just caught a bit of Carrier's leg, but missed the majority of them.
Gooley's lucky. He took a swipe at Ovechkin, and he's lucky he didn't make more contact, because any contact from the bench to a player on the ice typically comes with a 10-minute misconduct.
Neutral zone face-off for the Canadiens. They win it back all the way to their own zone. Arbor Jacki with it behind his net. Evans, Newhook, and Demidov on the ice for Montreal. Long stretch pass intended for Demidov. Missed the mark. He said he tipped it. It looks like this face-off is going to come all the way back to the Montreal zone. It's Chychrun and Demidov now. Brief exchange at center ice.
Yeah, Washington's not taking their foot off the gas, especially, and they're not going to take it easy on the kids. We already saw the couple face-offs ago in the Canadian zone. It was Dubois giving a little shot to Lane Hudson. Now Chychrun getting into Demidov's face. So expect everybody to be targeted from Washington when the physical encounters are present themselves.
Capitals win the ozone face-off. Here's John Carlson at the blue line. Plays it down low. David Savard stripped of it near side by Anthony Beauvillier. He'll swing it back behind the net. Jacki evades Alexander Ovechkin. Loose at the side, though, collected by David Savard, and he'll flip it out through center ice. Jacob Chychrun with it. Moves it across for Carlson off the boards and almost offside. And it is picked up by Washington again. Moved down the far wing. Ovechkin carries in on Lane Hudson. Through the slot, Ovechkin under pressure. That's swiped away. As it goes back out through center ice, it's picked up by Trevor Van Riemsdyk. 11:02 to go in the first, tied at 0. Lars Eller runs into Gooley. Down the near side, it's played into the Montreal zone by Mangiapane. Leonard trying to center that for Mangiapane, just missed. It goes all the way back for Logan Thompson. Now Trevor Van Riemsdyk. On the boards for Lars Eller. Slowly up to center ice. Tipped in by Ryan Leonard. Out of the net, Dobis. Hooks it around for Emil Heineman. Back to the near side. Jacki. Up to Gallagher. Swipes that through center ice. It's picked up by Rasmus Sandin. And quickly defer to Matt Roy. And it's tipped in by Eller. Didn't get far with it. Canadians go back to center. It's picked up by Connor McMichael. And on the far side, tries a shot. Good stick by Savard. And knocked it off courses. Jacki throws a big hit on McMichael in the corner. Takes the puck away. And the Canadians played out through center as Savard's pass missed. And it trickled toward the side of the net where it's quickly cleaned up and covered by Logan Thompson.
The Washington players are confused because it looked like that should have been icing.
Yeah.
They won the race, and there wasn't a whistle.
So the face-off to boot will come in the Washington zone here, John.
And they can't change because Logan Thompson froze it, and the puck was shot from over the red line.
Right.
Hence why everybody was confused that there wasn't an icing whistle.
So Nick Suzuki in to take this face-off with Caulfield and Slavkovsky. Matheson, Carrier line up at the point. Check that. That's Hudson and Matheson. As it's a face-off win anyway for Washington, they'll play it down the ice. Here goes Pierre-Luc Dubois down the near side. Dropping it back. One-time shot from Matt Roy. Friendly fire in front that hit his own man, McMichael. As it comes back to center ice, Roy delivers a hit on Slavkovsky, who got the puck in behind the Washington net. Logan Thompson bounces it off the glass. Right to Pierre-Luc Dubois. Now far side. Here goes Anthony Beauvillier. Tries the shot. And that's stopped by Dobish. Looks like it caught him right in the mask. As the Canadians dig for it down low. Caden Gooley's lost his stick. It's in the net. As here come the cops out in front. There's a chance for Carlson. And he punts it wide of the net. Gooley gets his stick back. As Dubois has it at the line. He'll swing it down low. Beauvillier in behind the net. Beauvillier circles around, passes into the slot. Here's Dylan Strome with a wrister. That carries wide. And Nick Suzuki goes the other way with it. Up to center. He'll drop it. Montreal need a line change. 8:50 to go in the first period as Demidov had the stick knocked out of his hands. That's why the fans are up in arms. There's the Canadiens chipping in from center ice. It's Newhook racing after it. We got a scrum back in the Montreal zone. Brandon Duhaime was caught up with Caden Gooley. Now the puck comes right to Duhaime but skips over his stick. And in toward Dobish. He couldn't get a handle on it. On the far side, we got a penalty on the play here with Gooley and Brandon Duhaime. And this one's going to go against Gooley and the Montreal Canadiens. So it was interference against Alexiev early tonight. And now it's Caden Gooley who gets the gate for interference against Montreal. 8:25 to go in the first. We'll take a quick break. Capital Power Play when we return to Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
The best rotisserie chicken is slow roasted with love at Saint-Hubert. This spring, enjoy our locally sourced chicken in 1,001 ways with one of our 3 sauces, including the brand new spicy Asian sauce. Try our new rotisserie items, such as the tikka masala quarter leg and rib combo, or our Saint-Hubert bowl topped with rotisserie chicken breast. Whatever you're in the mood for, our tasty locally sourced chicken will satisfy everyone's tastes. Discover our new products for a limited time. Details at saintshubert.com. Are you looking for a damage insurance broker that specializes in commercial insurance? There is only one name, Essor Insurance. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, Essor Insurance brokers are the perfect advisors for you. With more than 65 years experience, Essor Insurance is proud of its team of brokers who stand out for their ability to select the best products for your business. Call 833-370-2704 or visit essor.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Canadiens hockey is presented by Essor Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
8:25 to go in the first. We got a 0-0 tie. Montreal are going to the penalty kill for the first time tonight. Brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling. In the heat of the game, control the temperature in any room at any time. Gooley in the box for interference. Caps are 1 for 5 on the man advantage in this series. They win the face-off back to the line for John Carlson. Moved around the boards by Tom Wilson. Near side, Chychrun with it. Hounded by Yoel Army up. Wilson picks up the puck, plays it right back around for Ovechkin far wing. Ovechkin snaps it down low, rides around the boards. Strome to the line for Carlson. Carlson into the bumper spot. Wilson back over to Strome. Right side, settles it down. Passes down low. Chychrun, far side. Wilson, big stop from Dobish. And it's Montreal collect the puck and play it off the boards down the ice. First big test tonight for Dobish. And he passes it with flying colors. As here goes Dylan Strome. Passing off Wilson near side. His feet is broken up by Matheson. Another clear for the Canadiens. With a minute 5 left to kill. Now Carlson hands it off to Chychrun. In over the Montreal line. He gets sat down. Loose at center. Here we go. Anderson full steam ahead. Tries the shot. Can't get it. John Carlson back in time to break it up. And John Carlson goes back the other way as he shoots it in. Far side, Ovechkin. That's broken up. And again, quick clear for the Canadiens. 34 seconds to go in the 5-on-4. Now Rasmus Sandin works his way up to center. Rips it across. It's off a body. Now here goes Evans far wing, but Sandin gets to it first. Back to center ice. McMichael off for Pierre-Luc Dubois, far side. He'll play that around the boards in the Montreal zone. It's caught at the blue line. Sandin, far side. Roy works it down low. Pierre-Luc Dubois, that knocked away. Gets it back behind the net. Pressured by Yoel Armia. Dubois trying to shake him off. Tried to center it. That goes off a leg. And the whistle blows. A little bit quick on that, as Dolbush didn't have it fully covered, but the power play is over for Washington. We are even strength with 6:16 to go in the first.
Incredible save by Dolbush, and that is Washington pre-scouting. They know that Montreal's D at the net, their D2, always goes down. In this case, Savard goes down on all fours. A lot of times he and Matheson go right down on their bellies, and they take away any backdoor passes. So Chychrun steps out and above and sauces it to Wilson. That buys Dolbush just enough time to go post to post and make an incredible save.
They tried that twice in Game 3 as well with Tom Wilson on the far side. That was the best look, though, they've had off of that play this series.
I'm not going to lie, there should have been a too many men against Montreal. There was a change by Josh Anderson at the bench, and Jake Evans got on and started defending Tom Wilson's path, and they weren't able to execute.
Capitals win the faceoff. Sandin from the line floats one wide of the net. Far side now, Nick Dowd skates it up the wing to the blue line, trying to shake off Jake Evans. Dowd leaves it behind. Picked up by Taylor Radish. Can't get the shot through traffic. Roy with a try. That doesn't go through either. Back to Radish near side. He'll leave it for Rasmus Sandin out in front. That's deflected just wide of the net. As Emil Heidemann quickly shoots it off the boards out to center. Recovered by Sandin. Off for Nick Dowd. He'll float it into the Montreal zone. Gooley first to it. Laid off the boards. Here goes Nick Suzuki now. Over to Brendan Gallagher. McMichael in to break this up. Keaton Gooley turns back to his own zone. Now Slavkovsky onto the ice with Caulfield and Suzuki. As Gooley starts from behind his own net. Far side. Hudson rips it down the ice. Suzuki works it into the Washington zone. It's quickly broken up by Chychrun, and he'll float it out through center. All the way for Jakob Dolbush, who gets there first, and he'll ladle that off the boards to Lane Hudson. Stretch pass through center, looking for Caulfield. That does not find the mark, and it will go for icing with 5:01 to play in the first.
That power play really got Washington into this game, feeling good about maybe creating some offense, even at 5-on-5. It's been, in a way, a really low event period when it comes to creating offense for either team. You got to wonder who can win the battle to the interior moving forward.
Lars Eller to take the face-off versus Nick Suzuki. Blocker side on Jakob Dolbush. And we're going to get a false start here, at least a warning to Lars Eller. And now it's a clean win for Nick Suzuki. Here's Gooley behind his own net. Quickly off to Lane Hudson. Starting ahead to center, threads it through, but it's picked up by John Carlson. Now Ryan Leonard at center, drops it back for Carlson. That's taken away. Here goes Caulfield down the near side, trying to float the pass over. Gets it back out in front side of the net, and Logan Thompson takes one away from Nick Suzuki as it goes back to the blue line for Keaton Gooley. Looks to work it down low. Intercepted by Carlson. Played right back up the wing. Now back in behind the Washington net. Far corner. Chychrun steps in front of Suzuki as the puck squeaks out to center. Now Slavkovsky carries in left side. He'll turn away from Carlson. Hands off at the point. Big shot from Gooley. Missed wide of the net. Now Lars Eller under pressure. Quickly gets that away to Alexander Alexiev. And he'll clear that out to center ice. Good hands by Ryan Leonard to knock it down, but then the pass goes right to Hudson. Now right back to Leonard and snapped into the Montreal zone. This is going to be icing against Washington. 3:54 to go in the first. Still tied at 0. Shots now 5-4 Montreal.
Yeah, this shift for Ryan Leonard been a bit rough a couple times. Opportunities to get the puck out. just inside his own blue line, and he mishandles a puck or overhandles it, not ready for the pressure. And here he's within a foot or two. He's trying to connect with a direct pass when an indirect or a puck placement into the zone would suffice, and you don't get the red line. These could be costly icings.
Washington face-off win. Alexiev plays that off the glass out to center. Picked up by Jack Guy. He'll snap it right back in. First shot, Alexiev off the boards. Skates in behind his own net. Picked up by Dylan Strome. Up for Anthony Beauvillier. Out to center come the Capitals. Flipped in by Alexiev. He takes a hit. There's going to be another penalty to Montreal. Another interference call will send Washington to the power play.
Montreal money penalty, 72, interference.
This will be on Jack Guy. It's the third interference minor of this period between these two teams. And the Capitals will go back to the power play when we return to Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
At IGA, we help you save with our new Verified Prices promotion. Every week, check the front page of our flyer to discover our offers. Enjoy the lowest prices on selected products or automatically receive the difference in Scene Plus points. It's guaranteed. No proof required at checkout. IGA. Peace of mind is everything. For a limited time at participating stores. Details in the flyer and at IGA.net.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite pho shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Export. Ultra. XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
3:32 to go in the first period at Bell Center. 0-0 tie. Canadiens to the penalty kill for the second time tonight. Brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling. In the heat of the game, control the temperature in any room at any time. Jack Guy is in the box as we face off to the far side on Dolbich. It's won back by Montreal, and the Canadiens will quickly snap it down the ice. John Carlson back to collect it for Washington. He'll drop it back from center and hits Dylan Strome. He'll leave it behind for Chychrun now. Carried deep into Canadian territory, picked up by Savard. He shoots it down the ice. 30 seconds gone and the Washington man advantage as John Carlson turns it back from center for Strome. Here goes Dylan Strome. Cross ice feed, finds Wilson, drops it again. Chychrun backhands it in. Mike Matheson is right there for it, then shoots it off of Wilson. Tom Wilson keeps this in for Washington as Chychrun, pressured by Josh Anderson, steps in off the wall and works his way in with a shot. That's fended off by Dolbich. Ovechkin pokes that round the boards. That's picked off by Matheson. This time he gets it out clean off the glass with 51 seconds to go in the Washington power play. 2:16 left in the first period. Still awaiting our first goal tonight. As John Carlson drops it back. Here goes Pierre-Luc Dubois into the Montreal zone. Far wing. Shoots it in. Rides around the boards all the way to the blue line for Rasmus Sandin. Quick pass over to Ovechkin. Down low. And missed the mark for Pierre-Luc Dubois. It's picked up by Savard, and he'll sift it out through center ice. Not much going here for this Washington power play that has just 15 seconds to go in it. Rasmus Sandin through center, works into Montreal territory. Ovechkin far side, quick shot, kicked away by Dobish. It cleared out. It's knocked down by Sandin at center. Mangiapane onto the Montreal line, sends it in as Harper Jackeye steps out of the box. And we are back to 5-on-5. Minute 20 left in the first. Here goes Jackeye out to center. Far side, Hudson in with speed. Hudson slows it down, goes back to the line, cycles it around. Newhook picks it up. Over to Gooley, it skips on him, throws it wide of the net. And now Taylor Radish leaves it for Matt Roy. Cleared off the boards out to center. Final minute of play in the first. Gooley steers it in. Matt Roy back for it. Passed around, collected by Trevor Van Riemsdyk. And now moved out to center ice. It's going to be an offside against Nick Dowd and the Washington Capitals.
Again, the zone entries. Every time Montreal on the PK gets it clear, Washington can't get anything going after the blue line. They can't even get control. So the moment they start rim releasing, Montreal is reading it perfectly, not with one, but two players, and they continuously winning puck battles, winning races, and getting the puck down the ice.
Neutral zone face-off upcoming. Bit of a hold-up here at the scores table. Now they get the okay with 48 seconds left on the clock. This will be a face-off between Nick Dowd and Nick Suzuki in neutral territory. Radish and Slafkovsky jostling on the near side as Suzuki wins the face-off back. Gooley with it, snaps it ahead for Slafkovsky. Worked in off the boards. Chychrun goes back for it, behind the Washington net. Far side, Brandon Duhaime. Tries to lift it out to center, he can't. Picked up now by Nick Dowd. He'll get it out there as Taylor Radish throws it in the rest of the way to the Montreal zone. Lane Hudson lays it up the near side boards for Slafkovsky. Stolen away by Radish. Now sent back down low. Comes over to Gooley. And he erased his man in the corner. And that was Nick Dowd who tried to throw a hit on the forecheck. Gooley got the better of that battle. As the Capitals work it around far side, 6 seconds to go. Here's a shot blockered high and out of play by Jakub Dobish. That'll leave just enough time for Washington to make something happen here off the ozone faceoff.
That's a great way to stand your ground by Caden Gooley, but he was alert. He was aware that Nick Dowd was trying to run him into the third row of the stands. Very similar just on the other side, Lane Hudson. They're trying to get their pound of flesh every chance they get, and he's not putting himself in any type of position to get popped, and it's getting a little bit frustrating for some of the forecheckers for Washington.
And quite an eventful start to this game, John, for Caden Gooley.
Yeah, he's been a little off. I mean, I feel this last shift a little bit better, but when he got that penalty, he's just off a little bit. He's just looking to make something happen physically for no reason. He's just got to settle down.
Capitals with 3.7 seconds to work with here on the clock. They line up with Dylan Strome to take the face off. Ovechkin right behind him. Scrum off the draw. It's stolen away by Montreal, and that's going to finish off our first period of play.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting start here to the second period. I don't think either team can be overtly happy with how they are handling the pressure when they have the puck, especially through transition. Teams are going to want to get more offensive zone time to wear down their opponent.
Shots officially 7-5 in favor of Washington through 20 minutes. We'll take a break here with the score tied at 0. We'll be back on the other side of it. It's the first intermission roundtable coming your way next on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
Bell Pure Fiber is the technology you need for high-performance applications. It leverages light signals transmitted through optical fiber. It's capable of providing huge bandwidth, super low latency, and it's immune to electromagnetic interference.
Basically what he means is, it's incredibly fast internet. Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $70 per month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell, internet just got better.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to LaCage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At LaCage, everyone's a fan.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
This is Montreal Canadiens hockey on your home of the Habs, TSN 690.
At Point S, we're already geared up for spring. And as the Habs coach would say, you always want to grab the best seat possible, or in this case, the best tires. Drive for victory this summer with Pirelli and get up to $100 in mail-in rebates when you buy 4 selected Pirelli tires. Offer valid until May 18th. Just visit your Point S garage or go to point-s.ca to claim your offer. Drive stress-free with Point S, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
It's no secret, Winnie's on Crescent is the place to cheer on Montreal's hockey team. Come enjoy pub fare before, during, and after the game. Who knows who you'll see? Winnie's Bar and Restaurant, 1459 Crescent, winniesbar.com.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
As the Capitals come ahead to center ice. Puck is floated to the far wing by Strome as Alex Ovechkin went after Carrier and just missed him. It was a big collision along the boards. As Ovechkin almost went into the bench himself, just missing Carrier. That could have been a lot worse for the Montreal defenseman. Logan Thompson bounces it off the glass. Right to Pierre-Luc Dubois. Now far side, here goes Anthony Beauvillier, tries the shot, and that's stopped by Dobich. Looks like it caught him right in the mask. Right side, settles it down. Passes down low, Chychrun, far side, Wilson, big stop from Dobich. And it's Montreal collect the puck and play it off the boards down the ice. First big test tonight for Dobich. And he passes it with flying colors. Now Ryan Leonard at center, drops it back for Carlson, that's taken away. Here goes Caulfield, down the near side, trying to float the pass over. Gets it back out in front side of the net, and Logan Thompson takes one away from Nick Suzuki as it goes back to the blue line for Caden Gooley.
Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690. I'm your game host, Mitch Gow. The Capitals and Canadiens are tied at 0 after one period of play. Your first period scoring summary: no goals. Shots on goal in that period, 6-5, favoring the Washington Capitals. It's now time for the first intermission roundtable. And we have the coach at John Goyens with us. John, isn't it funny sometimes how you can have such a contrast in style of play between games, where Game 3 was wide open with a lot of space, and this first period we see in Game 4, every inch of ice is highly contested, and you have to fight for every inch out there.
Yeah, the majority of this period was played outside the dots, right? Everything that went to the interior, guys were boxed out, pucks were deflected away. Outside of the Dobich big-time save, post-to-post like that, there's not too much quality offense from either side, but that means both teams are just saying, you know what, we both need to be better defensively. We can't just play a run-and-gun series. It's not sustainable, and it seems in a lot of ways both teams are employing the same type of game plan.
Well, as far as that is concerned, which team does that give the advantage to?
You know, every time a team allows Montreal to stay close, Montreal comes out of nowhere and gets them. Almost like their opponents are a little bit surprised. And I don't know why you would be after the months and months of continued play the way they've been play when they're down or when the games are tight. They always seem to elevate just a little bit. They're poised, and they remain poised throughout. And so I think that this does play in the favor of the Montreal Canadiens.
Big storyline going into this one would be the goaltending for both teams, really, with Logan Thompson leaving last game with injury. Now he's between the pipes tonight for the Capitals and made a pretty decent save on the Savard point shot that was deflected in the first, probably Montreal's most threatening chance. Maybe there was that Suzuki/Slavkovsky backhand over the net in the first period as well. More importantly, what did you think of Jakub Dobeš in that first period? Only faced 6 shots, made the big save on Tom Wilson. But as far as how he looked, what did you think?
He looks like the kid that got called up at Christmas, right? In the first 6, 7, 8, 9 games that he played. This was a kid who seems to have always had swagger. You know, as you saw a little bit with me in Laval at the beginning of his season last year, where he was a bit leaky. After about 2 or 3 months and working with his goalie coach down in Laval, Marco Marciano, this kid became one of the hottest prospects within the organization. And he comes into a situation like this, he doesn't look phased one bit. Big, calm, composed, and athletic when need be. I think he's going to give Montreal Canadiens the best chance to win possible, just as much if Montembeault was in the nets.
Now, I mentioned to start this first intermission that there's not a lot of room out there. And we know that throughout the course of a playoff series, there's going to be a lot of discussion between managers and the head of officiating. And there's going to be a back and forth, and that's why every game changes a little bit. We saw the cross-checks early in the series. We haven't seen that since. Is it a coincidence that we see 3 penalty calls in that first period? Interference. No, because I don't think there's a coincidence there.
It's part of gamesmanship.
It's a mandate.
It's part of the gamesmanship as well, from whether it be GMs, coaches, and the referee in chief. It happens in midget AAA. It happens in major junior. You have opportunities to send in clips and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, one of the things that they're going to talk about is Montreal in the PK. Tom Wilson was flying down the left wing, and I believe it was John Carlson looked at him to headman the puck, and Anderson was nowhere close to the bench, and Jake Evans was already on the ice defending Tom Wilson's path. Those are other elements that will get looked at. So it isn't a coincidence. It is absolutely part of the gamesmanship, and it's part of the general manager's jobs and the head coach's jobs to shed light on certain situations so that maybe they get a bit of an edge, maybe they rattle the cage on the other side, whatever the case may be. But this is why we will see certain areas of the game get tightened up a little bit on the officiating side.
Any issues with any of the penalties called?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't like the first one by Washington. I thought it was 2 guys battling for position. One guy went down. I didn't see, the old school like cross-check down on a guy's pants for him to lose balance or a slew foot or anything like that. Besides that, you and I both looked at each other. If Jack-Eye just keeps skating, just skates, that forechecker's got to veer around him. He's got to find his path, because Jack-Eye's not touching him. The moment he lunged to get a piece of him, it was obvious. And the other one was the goalie.
Yep.
Yeah, the goalie shot. We saw that coming ever since Ovechkin went to hit Carrier. You saw goalie try to take a mini little swipe. It might have been a kitten swipe, but it was still a swipe from the bench a little bit. And then a couple of shifts, he seemed a little bit frazzled. But since then, he seems to have calmed his game down.
Key point of emphasis you're going to be watching in the second period?
Well, I think just for Montreal, it's the pace. The pace of game has to find its way to the interior of the ice. If the pace of game remains to the exterior, that's exactly what's it's just going to become stale offensively, and then it's a lot of hope offense. Hope someone tips it in, hopes it bounces off somebody, and if they're going to want to chip away here and get Washington, not necessarily on their heels, but rattled a little bit, they've got to win the races to the interior with and without the puck.
Thanks as always, John. We'll see you in a second.
Thank you.
There's the coach of John Goyens. I'm Mitch Gallo. This is Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690. After one period of play, it is Washington 0, Montreal 0. Coming up next, we'll get you caught up with the out-of-town scoreboard here on TSN 690.
Are you looking for an insurance broker, passionate and professional? With 65 years of experience, SO Insurance has proven to be totally dedicated to serving its clients. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, their brokers have one priority: to find you the best offer available to insure your home, car, and all other types of motorized vehicles. Call 833-370-2704 or visit SOR.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
When you choose the STM to get to an event, you aren't just riding public transit. You're riding a wave of collective energy with fans just like you all the way to the big event. Heading to the Bell Center? No need to put your whole day on ice. With public transit, you won't have to worry about traffic or parking. A trip to Lucien Lallier or Bonaventure Station gets you right to the heart of the action. Now that's what we call putting it on the tape. With the STM, birds of a feather ride together.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to LaCage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At LaCage, everyone's a fan.
Beer, chips, popcorn. Score big at your neighborhood Voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
Delmar, a globally integrated, technology-focused logistics solution provider, backed by 60 years of expertise. Experience the power of bringing simplicity to your supply chain with Delmar. Visit delmarcargo.com. Delmar, logistics made simple.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back to the Bell Center. My name's Mitch Gallo. It is a 0-0 between the Washington Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens. After one period of play, let's get you caught up with the out-of-town scoreboard. Two games already in the books as the Carolina Hurricanes take care of business against the New Jersey Devils. 5-2 was the final in that one, and it was the Andrei Svechnikov show. Svechnikov had a hat trick in that one. Timo Meier also with a multi-point game. Jacob Slavin scored, and it was a 5-2 win for Carolina, although Frederik Andersen did leave that game with injury. He was bumped into by Timo Meier, and Peter Kochetkov came in to replace Andersen, so we'll see what his status is ahead of game number 5. Now, you also had the St. Louis Blues beat up on the Winnipeg Jets of 5-1. Connor Hellebuck pulled from the goal in that one. And at the other end, it was Jordan Binnington. He was the first star of the game. He made 30 saves. Jake Neighbors had a 3-point game, including a goal. And Braden Shen, the captain of the St. Louis Blues, also with a goal and an assist later tonight. 2-1 series lead for the LA Kings, as those two teams, the Kings and Oilers, have game number 4, 9:30 puck drop. Puck drops on the second period. Coming up next, Victor Finley and John Goyens with the call. Montreal and Washington next on TSN 690.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All-electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
The home of your Montreal Canadiens. TSN 690.
The biggest Latin music festival in Canada is back. Fuego Fuego, May 24th and 25th at Montreal's Olympic Park. Don't miss reggaeton legend Nicky Jam, Mexico superstar Peso Pluma, El Alfa's final show in Canada, Puerto Rico's icon Wisin, Venezuela's rising star Danny Ocean, and many more. Join the fiesta and heat up your summer with 2 days of non-stop Latin music, the best international food, and Montreal's unbeatable vibes. Tickets on sale now at festivalfuegofuego.com.
Bell Pure Fiber is the technology you need for high-performance applications. It leverages light signals transmitted through optical fiber. It's capable of providing huge bandwidth, super low latency, and it's immune to electromagnetic interference.
Basically what he means is, it's incredibly fast internet. Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 5,500 for $70 per month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell, internet just got better.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite pho shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Export, Ultra, XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Back inside the Bell Center, where we are getting ready and set for the second period of play. About a minute away from puck drop. Victor Finley with John Goyens on the call this evening. No goals after one. 3 power plays, 2 for Washington, 1 for the Montreal Canadiens. And as a result, John, it's been tough for some players deeper in the lineup here to get ice time in the first period of this game.
But this is where you just got to always be ready, right? Like, it's, you get the tap. There can't be the excuse, I've been sitting here getting cold. You play 8 minutes, be a superstar with your 8 minutes. You play 12, superstar 12. Like, that's where you're at this time of year, and it is going to be tough for Kapanen to get rolling here, especially if we see 3 to 4 penalties per period.
And just a minute 14 for Oliver Kapanen in the first period of play. Only 4 shifts for Lars Eller and Ryan Leonard on the Washington side. As we will begin this second period, even strength. 5-on-5 shots officially after 26-5 in favor of Washington. So Dvorak's line will start, as will Pierre-Luc Dubois with Wilson, McMichael, Chychrun, and Carlson for the Capitals. Matheson and Carrier line up at the blue line. As Washington win the opening face-off of the second period to get us started. The Canadiens now moving from left to right as John Carlson chips it out off the glass to start. Here goes McMichael up the middle, passing off Wilson. Moves it to the near side. That's behind Pierre-Luc Dubois. Off the boards. Tried to center that up the middle for Wilson, just out of his reach. And it's played out to center by Anderson. Picked up by Brendan Gallagher. Moved in. And here goes Dvorak with a backhand. That's sent wide of the net. Back around the glass, Wilson. This is pass cut off by Anderson. Now recovered by Chychrun. Pierre-Luc Dubois skates up the middle, sails one wide of the net, and it's covered off the rebound from the boards by Jakub Dobiš.
The referees really don't want any extracurricular activities after a whistle. There were about 6 whistles there to basically tell everybody to go their own way and not engage in any type of stupidities.
Face off to the glove hand side of Jakub Dobiš. And Dylan Strome with Beauvillier and Ovechkin. Suzuki and his top line out there for Montreal, featuring Dvorak here. Will take this face off the left side. And Dylan Strome wins this right back from Matt Roy. Sent to the net. That's tipped and turned aside by the pad of Jakub Dobiš. Now Caden Gooley, the far side wing. This is deflected to center. Taken by Matt Roy. Back to the neutral zone. Played in by Suzuki right back to Roy. Up to center. Rifled in off the glass by Anthony Beauvillier. Now Dylan Strome tries to center. This is taken away by Gooley. And he'll skate up to the neutral zone. Passes down the far wing. Picked up by Matt Roy. Played around to center ice it comes. Here goes Beauvillier. Might have a step on Hudson, but Lane Hudson throws him off the puck. Loose in front. They score! Anthony Beauvillier couldn't get the shot away, but the puck stayed loose for Dylan Strome, who picks it up and backhands it in to give Washington a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and this is what happens. You got two players engaged with Beauvillier, who's working his tail off to just gain a little bit more real estate. And Suzuki's got a guy on the weak side, and that just leaves Dylan Strome, who's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and really smartly, you want to be quick, but you don't want to be in a hurry, and then he ends up being Johnny on the spot and backhanding that right under the bar.
So Dylan Strome with points in all 3 games of this series has his second of the postseason. Now points in all 4 games. I believe we could say the same for Beauvillier after that. He's likely going to draw the primary assist as here go the Habs the other way. Right off the faceoff, Yoel Armia throws one wide of the net. Comes around for Jack Guy, sends that one in. That's turned aside. Nick Dowd, far side. Cannot get it out to center. That's knocked down by Arbor Jack Guy. Powers in down the far side. Now slips the puck around the boards to the blue line for David Savard. Back down low it goes. Nick Dowd is tied up. We got Oliver Kapanen with him as the puck rolls back for Savard. Across the line for Jack Guy. Up high now, Oliver Kapanen. Trying to skate away from Nick Dowd. Back to the point. Jack Guy's shot is blocked by Radish. Now David Savard with a try. That goes wide of the net. Rolling around to the far side. Jake Evans controls it. Passes back for Alex Carrier. Down the near side corner. Yoel Armia. Tried to cycle that around. This is picked up by Jake Evans. And he'll fling that well wide of the net. Good pushback shift here for Montreal after giving up the first goal of the night. 2.5 into the second period. 1-0 Washington as the Capitals collected off the boards. Brandon Duhaime out to center, gently off the glass. And into the Montreal zone where it's skated up ice by Jake Evans. Evans to center. Short pass finds Ivan Demidov. Skates it to the corner. Demidov pressured by Alexiev. Puck gets played around, far side point, Mike Matheson. In the slot, there's a shot from Matheson. His stick explodes it too as the Capitals clear it off the glass and out. Here goes Mangiapane down the near side, deep into the Montreal zone, spinning away from contact. Lars Eller in the corner. Has control of it, slips it around, far side, Mangiapane. Back and forth with Ryan Leonard. Now Van Riemsdyk at the blue line. Rolled down low for Lars Eller. Pressured by Alex Carrier. Back to the point. Kept in by Van Riemsdyk. Thrown just wide of the net. Leonard follows it around to the near side. Skates high into the slot. Leonard passing off for Dylan Strome fresh onto the ice. Strome tries a shot. That deflects off of Dvorak and goes high out of play with 16-17 left in the second period.
If not for that back check of Dvorak coming from the bench, that would have been a 2-on-0 for the Washington Capitals. Again, Dvorak showing that his pace of play has really, really improved over the last 3 months. And he's been a key component and a key player wide and help Montreal get into this position and be in the playoffs. Without that back check, he'd be down 2-0 potentially.
Dylan Strome versus Nick Suzuki, far side in the Montreal zone. And the Canadiens win the face-off back. Here goes Mike Matheson ahead to center. Finds Suzuki. Slavkovsky near side. Carries in down the boards. Under pressure from Dylan Strome. Into the corner it goes with Caulfield. Taken away by Dylan Strome. He'll skate out to center. Driving the middle. Rasmus Sandin can't handle the feed. He'll go into the corner though with Caden Gooley. Now bouncing around behind the net. Flattened by Anthony Beauvillier. To the far side. Feeds it up top. Sandin looking for a line to the net. Tries a shot. That's deflected wide off the glass. Gooley tied up with Ovechkin. And plays whistle down for the high stick against Ovechkin and the Capitals, as it is officially, by the way, Strome second of the playoffs, assisted by Beauvillier at 1:25 of the second period. So both Strome and Beauvillier with points in all 4 games of this best-of-7 series.
Yeah, and right now, we talked about it coming into this period. Who can get to the interior? And right now, it's all Washington. They're getting pucks. They're chipping pucks to the interior. Not just chipping pucks to the exterior, off the wall. They're getting behind the defenders, and they're using pace of play with puck placement to their advantage.
Neutral zone face-off. Here, Luke Dubois is going to get waved out, so McMichael steps in. He's got 3 goals this series for the Capitals. Christian Dvorak in for Montreal is Wilson, and Josh Anderson getting into it a little bit on the far side. Capitals win the face-off, and Jacob Chychrun shoots it in. Round to the far side, Dvorak settles it down. Under pressure, looking for it in his feet. Goes back to the line for Pierre-Luc Dubois. It's held in, but goes right to Matheson. Now he'll fire it up to center for Gallagher. Here goes Gallagher skating in with a wrister. That goes wide of the net. Nudged out of harm's way by Logan Thompson. And Jacob Chychrun looks ahead to center for Wilson. Here goes Wilson as Matheson's lost his stick. Pass intended for Dubois, just missed. There's going to be a penalty on the play against Montreal. Pierre-Luc Dubois took a high stick. And the Canadiens on their heels here to start this second period. Almost 5 minutes into it. 1-0 Washington. And they're about to get their 3rd power play of the night. Looks like this will just be a 2-minute minor. Indeed, 2-minute minor it is against Christian Dvorak. John?
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think the Montreal Canadiens bench is very happy here. It looks like Pierre-Luc Dubois might have sold this one just a little bit.
Canadiens penalty kill brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling. In the heat of the game, control the temperature in any room at any time. Capitals are 0 for 2 so far tonight. Face-off far side on Dobish. And it goes right back behind his own net off the draw. It is picked up by Washington. And they'll set it up. Far wing. Dylan Strome. Floats down low, comes back up top. John Carlson back and forth with Chychrun. Now Strome looking out in front. That's smothered by Mike Matheson. And he'll move that out to center ice. Deflected by John Carlson on the way there. That's called for a high stick.
Yeah, and they went with a different look here with Strome setting up behind the net. Then he pops out to the goal line. But again, if you're not quick enough to adjust to that net front D, laying down the way Mike Matheson did, then it's just going to smother you. And in this case, it literally took out the feet of Strome, and then Matheson was able to get back to his feet, win the race to the puck, and get it clear.
Face-off will come right at center ice. Dylan Strome versus Jake Evans. And the Capitals control. John Carlson. Slowly through center. Feathers this one in over the line. This is going to be called back. Not sure John Carlson got all he wanted to on that, but it almost worked out, John. Instead, it throws the Caps offside.
Yeah, we're trying to look at the replay here to see who was offside, and it was a real close one. To your point, I don't think John Carlson got everything on it, but look for them to try something similar going forward because they've been stymied at the blue line by Montreal's PK forecheck stand.
Another center ice faceoff win for Strome. Still a minute 27 to go on the man advantage. This is tipped in by Strome. Here goes Chychrun after it behind the net. Plays it around near side Ovechkin. Into the slot. Strome and John Carlson. Strome now far side. Tries a wrister. That's blockered away by Dobish. Down low Wilson. Forks it around the boards. Up high. Carlson almost gave that away to Savard. Carlson trying to keep it in. Cannot do it as it goes back to center for Washington. And they'll reset in their own zone. It's collected by Dylan Strome. Now skates in over the Montreal line. Here's Chychrun passing off to Ovechkin with a shot. Not stopped by Dobish. Rebound to the line. And we got another penalty on the play. 44 seconds left in the original minor. The Washington Capitals are going to go 5-on-3 as Joel Armia skates to the box for Montreal.
Number 40 is going to minor for hooking. Could have been Savard, could have been Armia. You get your stick around the hands. This, by the way, was one of the, also just up, leading up to that play, was probably the cleanest look or the cleanest opportunity for Ovechkin to get the puck in a scoring area. He's barely touched the puck.
I believe we got a timeout here, John, taken by the Washington Capitals. So almost halfway through this game, still 13:49 to go in the second period. Spencer Carberry wants to make sure the Caps get this right with 44 seconds of 5-on-3.
And it's Kirk Muller that's going to take the board, get his group of 5 on the same page, and execute. You've got, for Washington, you've got to execute. You've got to really get Montreal nervous being down 2-0 in Montreal. You just got to stay steady here. Get into a solid triangle, not too much movement, great sticks, and when in doubt, you got to get in Ovechkin's shooting lane.
To give Washington, John, a bit of time for their top power play unit to get ready to go.
Some of these guys have been on, Chychrun and Wilson have been on for 1 minute and 51 seconds already, and Carlson, Ovechkin, and Strome 1:17. This will have a lingering effect after these 2 power plays expire.
Big moment here. Capitals already up 1-0. Now 5-on-3, 44 seconds. Strome wins the faceoff. Chychrun over to Ovechkin. One-time shot blocked by David Savard. Chychrun turns it around for Ovi again. Back to Chychrun. Down low. Out in front. One-time shot for Carlson. Stopped on the doorstep. Now here's Chychrun for Dylan Strome. Chychrun, Strome back and forth. Looking out in front again. Save made by Matheson, and he clears it down the ice. Gathered by Ovechkin. 10 seconds to go. 5-on-3. Ovechkin cruising into the Montreal zone. Looks up the middle. Settle down, Dylan Strome. In behind the Montreal net. Out of the box is Dvorak. 5-on-4. Strome, far side faceoff dot. Out in front, looks for Carlson again on the near side. Can't get it to go. Tom Wilson to John Carlson up top. Ovechkin trying to work it out in front. That's picked off. And Matheson with another crucial clear for the Canadiens. .48 seconds to go in the 5-on-4 now for Washington. McMichael passing off to Pierre-Luc Dubois. Capitals over the line. Offside. As this faceoff will go back to center.
Matheson's shift, 3 minutes and 51 seconds.
And 2 giant clears on the 5-on-3.
Well, he got what was that, the butterfly save. I think he got it off the jock strap and was able from the seat of his pants clear the puck, and then the next read clear that puck once again. Great PK so far for Montreal.
Not out of the woods yet. 37 seconds to go until Joel Armia is freed from the penalty box. Neutral zone faceoff. 2:26 to go in the second period. 1-0 Washington. Big faceoff win for Montreal. And Alex Carrier flips it down the ice. Near side corner. Dvorak hunting for it. It's tossed back around by Connor McMichael. Here's Rasmus Sandin with it now. He'll hit the brakes and now start the breakout to center. Sandin plays it in. Side of the net, picked up by Carrier. 8 seconds to kill. He'll fling this down the ice again. As Sandin picks it up and then lost it. Anderson plays it around out to center. Here goes Mangiapane. He was right there for it. Out of the box is Armia. And it's officially a pair of kill penalties here for the Montreal Canadiens. And that gets the crowd on their feet. Now played in by Washington. Side of the net. To be covered up by Jakub Dobiš. 11:34 to go in the second period. Well, there's sellout crowd tonight at the Bell Center. They love what they just saw from this penalty kill. And now the Habs, the no-zone face-off. It was called an icing. Off the dump in for Washington. Have Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky out to try and tie this game at 1. Habs win the face-off. Here's Lane Hudson at the blue line. Tries the shot. That's blocked by Andrew Mangiapane. Near side corner. Cole Caulfield scoops it up. Darts in behind the net. Caulfield round to the far side. Tries the wrister. Traffic in front. It's picked up by Connor McMichael. And he'll toss it out through the neutral zone down the ice. Lane Hudson. Good battle there with Andrew Mangiapane. They both go down. As it goes back into the Washington zone. Picked up by Jacob Chychrun. Off the boards to center. Stolen away by Caulfield. Slavkovsky. Back over to Caden Gooley. Near side, Gooley drops it back. Slavkovsky stepping inside of the net. That's tipped just wide by Caulfield. Missed it by an inch, and we got a penalty on the play. And this one is going against Washington.
Number 26, Washington's got a minor for interference.
Another interference call, John. That'll send the Montreal Canadiens to the man advantage when we return to Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech.
There's nothing like hockey night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
We all have the same goal, to be environmentally responsible. That's why Rio Tinto and the Montreal Canadiens are teaming up. We're replacing 1.5 million single-use plastic cups at the Bell Center with cups made with infinitely recyclable aluminum from Quebec. And the low-carbon aluminum we use for the cups is made by Rio Tinto right here in Quebec. It's a sustainability slapshot. To learn more, go to riotinto.com.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back to Montreal, where the Capitals have taken a penalty here. Nick Dowd is in the box. That means Canadiens power play with 10:44 to go in the second. This is a 1-0 Washington lead. Montreal don't have a shot yet in this period. They're being outshot 6-0. Coming off a huge penalty kill. It saw the Caps with 44 seconds of 5-on-3 action. Power play brought to you by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens, who win the face-off. Lane Hudson, far side for Cole Caulfield. Back up top, Hudson. Over to Demidov. Down low, out in front, quick rip from Nick Suzuki, goes off the glass. Not out, held in by Lane Hudson. Demidov. Back and forth with Juraj Slavkovsky. Up top. Lane Hudson, far side. Caulfield doesn't pull the trigger. Hudson with it. Back over to Caulfield. Near side, Demidov steps in. Goes back up high. Lane Hudson with a wrister. That's deflected by Thompson, who makes the save on the first official shot of the period for Montreal. The puck went out of play.
and an opportunity, not just on the power play, but the fact that Nick Dowd is not on the PK. He's usually paired out with Brendan Doohan, and he's out not once, twice, sometimes 3 times in the same 2-minute PK. He will take as many face-offs as possible, and he does typically a really good job at boxing out the Canadiens at trying to get to loose pucks.
1:21 to go on the man advantage for Montreal. Suzuki gets tossed from the face-off circle, so it's going to be Lars Eller versus Cole Caulfield. Quick win to the near side for Washington, and it's swept down the ice as Jakub Dobiš ranges out to play it behind his own net. Here goes Lane Hudson, dropping it back for Caulfield. Off the boards, Nick Suzuki slowed down at center. He'll go back across the rink for Juraj Slafkovsky. Dropping it for Caulfield. Back off on the far side, Slafkovsky gets away from Lars Eller. Habs get the zone. Here's Demidov, skates in down the wing, in behind the net, passes off. Slafkovsky off the feed from Demidov. Power play goal ties the game at 1.
And this all happens in the neutral zone when Slafkovsky sees that the breakout, the zone entry wasn't working. He took it back. He was calm, cool, collected. He dished it to Caulfield. Made an unbelievable move on the zone entry. Right there, he blows by Eller. He blows by Tom Wilson with a pass, and then Demidov, what a move, go around the net, and he just puts it on a tee for Slafkovsky to drill that home.
That'll be the first Stanley Cup playoff point for Ivan Demidov, setting up Slafkovsky's second of the playoffs. That comes at 10:33, and the Canadiens have tied the game at 1 goal apiece. Here goes Newhook, far side Washington zone. Passes off to Matheson at the line, under pressure from Ovechkin. Puck comes loose for Dylan Strome. Back out to center, Strome weaves in over the half line. Puck comes loose for Anthony Beauvillier, and he'll roll it down low. Alex Carrier under pressure. Puck to the far side, whistle sounds. Realized it for a good second or two. The goal gets announced, the crowd goes crazy. And we will go to commercial break. Slafkovsky from Demidov and Lane Hudson at 10:33. Makes it 1-1 on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
$1 wings, $1 wings, $1 wings. Boston Pizza has the ultimate lineup. During every Montreal game this season, our wings are only $1 each at Boston Pizza. Come in for some delicious wings, an ice-cold Molson, and a great game. Now that's a winning trio. Visit bostonpizza.com to find a Boston Pizza near you and reserve your table. Boston Pizza is the place to be. See details in restaurant.
When things start heating up on the ice, count on Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling to keep the temperature comfortable in every zone of your home.
Mitsubishi Electric, official heating and cooling partner of the Montreal Canadiens and your partner in home comfort since 1980.
Hey sports fans, thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Toronto Sports Insider during the Playoff Pulse. Our mission is simple, bringing sports fans together to hang out, cheer, and change the world, one insider at a time, while supporting SickKids Hospital in Toronto every single game.
Cheers, insiders and sports fans from around the world. The Playoff Pulse campaign on Toronto Sports Insider is uniting fans worldwide through the thrill of NHL and NBA playoffs. Every game, every fan, every moment counts. The link is pinned in the chat and in the description. Check out our campaign page. Donate if you can, or share it with friends. Holy Mackinac! Every click helps sick kids heal the future. Just by being here, you have already made an impact. Now, chat it up, keep it classy, and let's keep changing the world one insider at a time.
In offside.
Yeah, there's a strategy to defensemen straddling the blue line with their feet outside the blue line, but you got to know where you are at all times. And Ben Riemsdyk actually had a bit of space to be a foot or two in, so he didn't cause that offside. And in fact, he slid to the middle, giving himself an opportunity to even one-time that.
Neutral zone face-off. Pierre-Luc Dubois will take it versus Josh Anderson as Dvorak was waved out. And it's picked up right away by Connor McMichael, skating it up the middle. McMichael is boxed out well by Alex Carrier. As the puck goes back out to center, it's retrieved by Alexander Alexiev. Back into his own zone. Alexiev turns up the near side for McMichael. Off to Tom Wilson, who shoots it in. Far side cornered. Pierre-Luc Dubois goes after it. Tied up with Matheson. Puck is loose. Back behind the net. Here's Dubois. Centers. Backhander from McMichael is caught by Dobich.
Again, a solid save by Dobich. You know, McMichael's trying to make something out of nothing. He catches a pass, but he's covered and he spins and fires a backhand. Dobich reads it all the way. And again, after the whistle, it looks like there's going to be a bit of a scrum, and right away, everybody just goes their own way. And the game is too close, too tight right now for anybody to take potentially a stupid penalty after the whistle.
Face off to the far side on Dobich. Dvorak versus Strome. It's done incorrectly. Bad drop the first time. Feels like Montreal have the momentum right now with the way this crowd is going as the Capitals win the face-off. Quick shot from Karlsson is blocked. Tries another. That's thrown wide of the net. Ovechkin turns it to the far side. Strome gave it away. Here goes Suzuki out to center. Passing off near side Slavkovsky. That's chopped away. Ovechkin tries to settle it down. He'll bang that off the boards out through center. Mentioned the Habs had the momentum, but the shots are 7-1 in this period for Washington. Here goes Caulfield. Off to Slavkovsky. Now Gooley back at the point for Lane Hudson. He'll give it off to Suzuki. One-timer for Hudson off traffic in front and steered out to center ice by the Caps. 7:34 remains in the second period. Tied at 1. Suzuki goes after it, near side corner. Puck pops out and over the glass, out of play.
It's good to see Hudson put himself in a position to one-time the puck. You know, there have been comments made even by Washington players where they see him as not the threat that he should be. If you're going to be kind of a, you know, like in baseball, a five-tool player, he's got to be a shooting threat. Even if he's not, he doesn't have the most blistering shot, he's got to put himself in the same position as he just did, slide to the middle, and let a one-timer. As long as it gets through the first layer of shot blockers, something good could come of it.
Face-off blocker side on Thompson. And the Canadiens control off the draw. Here's Yoel Armia. Skates it down low, behind the net, shrugging off Rasmus Sandin. Picked off by Washington. Here goes Ryan Leonard ahead to center ice. He'll play it in. David Savard goes back behind the Montreal net. Picked up by Lars Eller. Slammed to the near side boards by Arbor Xhekaj. Eller springs right back up. Passes off behind the net. Xhekaj and Eller getting into it in the corner. Here's a shot from the line. That's stopped by Dobich. Then he pounces on the rebound to cover up. And we've got our first real scrum in front of the net here. And Xhekaj and Eller, bit of a carryover from what they had going on in the corner.
Mangiapane's not happy. He figured that he should have drew a call there, but nothing went overtly overboard here on this scrum. And again, Dobich tracking the puck real well, and as it trickles to his right, he calmly freezes it and kills the play.
So the Capitals will line up near side of the Montreal zone. The last time these two teams met, John, the only time these two teams met in the playoffs was back in 2010. It's a young goalie from Slovakia who stole the show in that series. Yaroslav Halak, part of the spring of Halak in that incredible playoff run to the conference final for the Montreal Canadiens.
And stop signs with his name on it. That's how good he was during that playoff run.
And now Jakub Dobish getting his opportunity in his rookie season. He's only played half a full year in the NHL. As the Canadiens move it out to center ice. This is picked up by Connor McMichael in on the far wing. He'll turn around off the boards. Keeps the puck away from Anderson. Drops it back. Pierre-Luc Dubois skates it up high in the zone. Leaves it. Matt Roy, far side wing. Out in front. Trying to center it for McMichael. That pass doesn't get through. Scooped up now by Brendan Gallagher. Backhanded out to center ice. Taken away by Washington. Steered back in over the line by Matt Roy. Alex Carrier with it now. Out to center, has a streaking Dvorak. Here's Dvorak, over to Anderson, pass hip high. He had to knock it down and didn't have enough time to get the shot away. Capitals up to center. Here goes Dubois over the blue line. Backhands it down low as the Caps will get a line change. 5:56 to go in the second, tied at 1. Here go the Canadiens. Duhook driving the middle, but the puck gets away, goes right to Thompson, who covers it up. And that will get the stoppage and send us to another commercial break. Shots 14-7 in favor of Washington, but this game is tied at 1 on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet? What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
Beer, chips, popcorn.
Score big at your neighborhood voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
Are you looking for a damage insurance broker that specializes in commercial insurance? There is only one name, Essor Insurance. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, Essor Insurance brokers are the perfect advisors for you. With more than 65 years experience, Essor Insurance is proud of its team of brokers who stand out for their ability to select the best products for your business. Call 833-370-2704 or visit essor.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Canadiens hockey is presented by Essor Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Back inside the Bell Center, we got 5:51 to go in the second period, and a 1-1 tie between the Capitals and the Canadiens. Despite the level score, the shots are 8-2 here. The second stanza for Washington.
But everything to do with momentum came from those two kills, massive kills by the Montreal Canadiens.
Capitals tonight 0 for 4 on the power play. Including 44 seconds of 5-on-3. Face off Washington zone. Capitals win this back. John Carlson snaps it off the boards. Up to center ice, bouncing around for Jake Evans. Settled back down by Chychrun. Pass to the far side, ripped ahead by John Carlson. Here goes Dowd. Down the far side. McDowd from the line, swings it down low. Just past Brandon Duhaime. Corralled by Chychrun. Passing across for Van Riemsdyk. That's deflected wide of the net. Back up to the blue line. Another drive from Chychrun off the mark. Van Riemsdyk far side. Back to the side of the net. Taylor Radish trying to settle it down. He'll center that, and tending that pass for Nick Dowd as it goes back to the blue line. Van Riemsdyk down the far wing. Here's Dowd now. Left side point. Sandin sends that to the end boards. Anthony Beauvillier trying to get away. Sends it right out in front for Jake Evans. And that's sailed out to center. Now here goes Ovechkin down the near side. Shooting it in. Far side boards. Beauvillier overskated it. Juraj Slafkovsky the other way. Dumps it into the Montreal bench out of play.
Almost got Newhook right in the mouth. And again, we can't talk enough about how key those 2 PKs were, right? Like you look, Washington went all in. They called their timeout. They leaned heavily on their top unit, and they weren't able to capitalize. And the momentum swing went completely Montreal's way. It's very rare buildings explode the way they do because of great PKs, and you just felt it in the building that it was just going to take one more opportunity for Montreal to tie this up.
Face-off win at center for Dubois as the Capitals try to work it in over the Montreal line. Here goes McMichael down the near side. He's tied up with Carrier. Good battle going there as the Caps move it to the line. Here's Rasmus Sandin with it. Threads one wide of the net and off the end boards. McMichael racing after it. It's picked up, though, by Mike Matheson. Here goes Matheson skating ahead to center ice. And on the far side, passes over. Josh Anderson shot not stopped by Thompson. Rebound in front, collected by Tom Wilson. He'll skate it out to the neutral zone. That's the best 5-on-5 luck the Canadiens have had all period. Far side, Dvorak as Anderson knocks down his man. There's going to be penalties here, John. I think they're taking both players. Yeah. Or just Anderson.
It looked like he pointed at both.
I thought so too, but Wilson's gone right to the Washington bench. Referees are going to talk about this at center ice. Anderson's going for sure, but is somebody else going with him? Let's find out.
Montreal, Montreal, 17, okay.
And it's going to be a Washington power play as Anderson goes to the box for roughing on Tom Wilson.
I mean, that's clear-cut definition. At least when Wilson went in to hit Matheson, it was like a fraction of a second after he played the puck. And usually they gauge it by stick length away or whatever the case may be. Wilson turns around, the puck is gone. It's long gone. He never had the puck. And
refs have been making a pretty good effort, John, to crack down on those kind of plays tonight.
Yeah, and we've seen also a crackdown in the silliness after the whistles. The scrums have been minimal.
Capitals are 1 for 9 on the man advantage in this series. 0 for 4 tonight. This is their 5th try with 3:55 to go in the second period, and the game tied at 1. Half penalty kill presented by Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling. In the heat of the game, control the temperature in any room at any time. Big face-off win for the Habs. Near side, Joel Armia throws it out through center ice. And John Carlson goes backward to call this for a high stick on Carlson. And the face-off will be in the Washington zone. Not a great start here for the Capitals on their power play.
No, not at all. Montreal does a great job of relieving the pressure by bumping it to the weak side every time, and it buys them a ton of time to get the clear.
So Dylan Strome versus Jake Evans. Still a minute 51 to go in this 5-on-4. Strome, clean win. Ovechkin sends it behind the net for Carlson. Here goes John Carlson skating ahead to center ice. Over the Montreal line, he tosses it in. Racing after it now. Savard gets to it first, locked up along the boards. Savard gets pasted to the boards. Fans hollering for a call on that. Now Savard still on his knees. Comes loose for Armia, far side over to Evans. Cannot get it out. Here's Alex Ovechkin, shot in and out of the glove. Back to the far side. And Armia goes down, he'll get the puck. And starts skating it ahead to center. He'll filter that in with 1:06 to go in the 5-on-4.
Here goes Dylan Strome to the neutral zone. Curves it back for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Crossing into the Montreal zone, near side. Can't get the pass through the middle. We battle for it now. It's fished away by Connor McMichael. To the line, Ovechkin. Works it over to Rasmus Sandin. Right up the middle. Sandin shot wide, loose in front. Glove stop made by Jakub Dobeš. Right off the ricochet in front. Connor McMichael was there, but Dobeš takes it away with the glove hand.
What a great reaction. The shot goes wide off the yellow dasher, and McMichael's right there, and he doesn't fool around with it. He flips it, and Dobeš tracking the puck extremely well.
15 saves on 16 shots tonight for Dobeš. He's made a couple dandies. 38 seconds still on the minor penalty to Josh Anderson. Face-off far side Montreal zone. Dubois versus Dvorak. False start, first time. And now Pierre-Luc Dubois wins this for Washington on the second try. Here's Sandin up top, far side. Dubois down low, McMichael. Back to Dubois. McMichael again, side of the net, smothered here by Matheson. Capitals move it back up top. Sandin, far side, Dubois. Looks to pass it over to Ovechkin. That's off a couple sticks. Canadiens break it up and shoot it down the ice. Now Sandin back for it. Just 10 seconds to go on the power play. Here goes Dubois. He's stripping the puck. Ovechkin runs right toward Jake Evans. That's going to get called. Just as the power play was set to expire, Evans got eviscerated by Ovechkin at the line. And with just under 2 minutes to go in this second period, it's going to be a brief 4-on-4, then a power play for Montreal.
Number 8, Washington's going to line up for interference.
Well, interference, the theme of the night, gets called again.
Montreal's bench wants a 5-minute. I know, but they want a 5-minute major because at least then the referees are forced to review it.
Interference has been a hot topic around the National Hockey League the last couple games, in particular involving the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, and I wouldn't compare this hit to either one of those hits by Tkachuk on Gensel or Hagel on Barkov.
So 3 seconds of 4-on-4, then a Montreal power play presented by Florida Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Capitals win the face-off. Original penalty to Anderson's over as the Caps shoot it down the ice. Montreal with a power play in the final 2 minutes of the second period. Still tied at 1. Chance to take the lead. Canadiens already have a power play goal tonight. Here goes Suzuki crossing over the line. Hands off. Ivan Demidov works it down low for Nick Suzuki. Back over to Demidov. Right side, up top. Hudson, far side shot. Scores! Cole Caulfield. One-timer on the power play gives Montreal their first lead of the night. 2-1 the score.
Just a simple controlled zone entry, get into your setup, and from Demidov to Hudson to Caulfield, Thompson wants this one back. It really trickled right under the right arm between his body and like his elbow, and it just squeaked through.
Third of the series for Caulfield. It'll be Demidov to Hudson to Caulfield at 18:32 on the power play. So Hudson and Demidov with a pair of 2-assist nights.
as we will face off at center. Habs win the draw. 2 power play goals tonight as they shoot it in from center ice. Capitals back in their own end. Sandin swirls it around to the near side. Picked up by Lars Eller. Played back down the ice. Settled down by Dolmich's side of the net. He covers up for the face-off. So in a period, John, where the Habs have weathered the storm, they have been the most opportunistic of the two teams tonight. And they find themselves a minute 8 away for taking a lead to the third.
It's the best way to describe it. They've spent very little time in the offensive zone. They've had to kill penalties, and the 2 power plays have come to fruition. And this last one, they were able to execute early, and that was super important so they don't squeeze the sticks or force any bad plays.
So a face-off to the blocker side of Jakub Dolbich. Dylan Strome leans in to take it against Jake Evans. And the Canadiens win the face-off. Carrier chips it to center. Sandin swings it to the far side. Now played in by Alex Newhook. Sandin throws it around. Right side, Carrier. Down low, picked up by Dylan Strome. Off to Beauvillier, and the Capitals skate it back through center. Ovechkin far side. Trickles through the slot for Joel Armia. Now Newhook gathers it at center and nudges it in to the Washington zone. Far side, Beauvillier under pressure from Gallagher. It came out in front. Newhook couldn't tip it on the mark. Now Lane Hudson in the corner. Battles with Rasmus Sandin. Matt Roy keeps it going. Here's Dylan Strome up to the neutral zone. Beauvillier shoots it in. Comes around to the near side. Dylan Strome, weird bounce off the board. Chychrun sends it wide to the far side. Another shot. That's hammered wide of the mark. Held in at the line by Chychrun. Deflected in front. Save made by Dolbich. Now curled around near side. Out to center. 4 seconds to go in the period. Gallagher throws it in the rest of the way. And the Montreal Canadiens, the pair of power play goals in the second period, have powered their way ahead from down 1-0. Juraj Slafkovsky and Cole Caulfield make it 2-1 go into the third.
Looking to see if we're going to have any post-period shenanigans there. But the linesmen were ready to split them up.
Shots 10-4 in the second period in favor of Washington, but the score 2-1 for the Montreal Canadiens. Big third period coming up as the Habs try and tie this series at 2 games apiece. We got the second intermission roundtable coming up after the break on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Hey everyone, Adney and Burke here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers.
Jason Demers here after
energy with fans just like you all the way to the big event. Heading to the Bell Center? No need to put your whole day on ice. With public transit, you won't have to worry about traffic or parking. A trip to Lucien Lallier or Bonaventure Station gets you right to the heart of the action. Now that's what we call putting it on the tape. With the STM, birds of a feather ride together.
All rights to this broadcast are reserved, and any rebroadcast recording, retransmission, or other use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the Montreal Canadiens is expressly prohibited.
We all have the same goal, to be environmentally responsible. That's why Rio Tinto and the Montreal Canadiens are teaming up. We're replacing 1.5 million single-use plastic cups at the Bell Center with cups made with infinitely recyclable aluminum from Quebec. And the low-carbon aluminum we use for the cups is made by Rio Tinto right here in Quebec. It's a sustainability slapshot. To learn more, go to riotinto.com.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Now Dylan Strome tries to center. This is taken away by Gooley. And he'll skate up to the neutral zone. Passes down the far wing. Picked up by Matt Roy. Played around to center ice it comes. Here goes Beauvillier. Might have a step on Hudson, but Lane Hudson throws him off the puck. Loose in front, they score! Anthony Beauvillier couldn't get the shot away, but the puck stayed loose for Dylan Strome, who picks it up and backhands it in to give Washington a 1-0 lead. Down low, out in front, one-time shot for Carlson, stopped on the doorstep. Now here's Chychrun for Dylan Strome. Chychrun, Strome back and forth, looking out in front again. Save made by Matheson, and he clears it down the ice. Back across the rink for Juraj Slafkovsky. Dropping it for Caulfield. Back off on the far side, Slafkovsky gets away from Lars Eller. Habs get the zone. Here's Demidov. Skates in down the wing. In behind the net. Passing off. Juraj Slafkovsky off the feet from Demidov. Power play goal ties the game at 1. We battle for it now. It's fished away by Connor McMichael. To the line, Ovechkin. Works it over to Rasmus Sandin. Right up the middle. Sandin shot wide, loose in front. Glove stop made by Jakub Dobeš. Right off the ricochet in front. Connor McMichael was there, but Dobeš takes it away with the glove hand. Here goes Dubois. He's stripped of the puck. Ovechkin runs right through Jake Evans. That's going to get called. Just as the power play was set to expire, Evans got eviscerated by Ovechkin at the line. And with just under 2 minutes to go in this second period, it's going to be a brief 4-on-4, then a power play for Montreal. Ivan Demidov works it down low for Nick Suzuki. Back over to Demidov, right side, up top. Hudson, far side shot, scores! Cole Caulfield, one-timer on the power play, gives Montreal their first lead of the night. 2-1 the score.
Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690. Well, that was an eventful second period of play. The Montreal Canadiens lead the Washington Capitals by a score of 2-1 after 2 periods of play. Your second period scoring summary: 125, Dylan Strome from Anthony Beauvillier. 10:33, Juraj Slafkovsky power play goal. Slafkovsky's second, Ivan Demidov and Lane Hudson with assists. And then 18:32, Cole Caulfield, another power play goal from Lane Hudson and Ivan Demidov. It is time for the second intermission roundtable. I'm Mitch Gello, and we have our play-by-play man, Victor Finley, with us. Victor, as you can imagine, and it's probably the case on both sides, there's going to be a lot of conversation post-game about the officiating.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't even really know where to begin with it tonight. I mean, obviously there's an agenda here from the officials to try and get a hold of this game by eliminating as many interference, roughing, any kind of physicality-related penalties tonight before it degenerates to the point that it did in Game 3. Obviously, the league has made it pretty clear they don't want to get it to that point, so the refs are looking for that tonight. And as a result, we've seen, 8 power plays between these two teams.
And
40 minutes.
2 power play goals for Montreal, so they've kind of had the edge in that regard. I'll say, if I'm looking through the different penalties called, the Alexiev penalty in the first period, I did not think should have been a penalty. The Armia penalty on Tom Wilson, as Wilson's driving through the crease. Playoff hockey, I don't think that's a penalty. And then the Josh Anderson penalty on Tom Wilson, while I think it's a penalty, Tom Wilson is 240 pounds. Is he not? If Anderson's knocking him over that easy, he's got to check the edges on his skates or something. I thought that easily could have been called.
Josh Anderson's probably 230.
I understand, but I'm just saying that easily could have been called embellishment by Tom Wilson. Right?
Sure.
And then I'm objective here. I even told you guys off the air, I didn't think the Ovechkin penalty was much of a penalty. I thought it was 2 guys skating through the same lane, puck watching, and then it was a collision, and Ovechkin's bigger than Jake Evans.
Well, look, like I said, I think the refs are looking for something tonight, right? They're looking, whether that's intentional or not, they're going to err on the side of calling that a penalty tonight, and probably to the chagrin here of both teams and both fan bases. Obviously, the Habs fans have let their opinions be known tonight, and I'm sure they're back in Washington. They're up in arms over a few of these calls tonight as well. So it's obviously probably the biggest storyline of this game. There's no other way to put it. You'd ideally not like the officiating to be the biggest story of a playoff game through 40 minutes, but that's been the case here tonight. There's no question.
But Victor, isn't it funny in hockey how a big penalty kill can change the momentum of a game? We saw it last night. I don't know if you were watching Toronto-Ottawa.
Yeah, I did.
Toronto had 4-minute power play in overtime. They don't convert. Ottawa gets momentum on home ice, and they end up scoring the OT winner. Here, we had a 5-on-3 advantage for the Washington Capitals. The crowd really got into it after the PK, and very timely, I thought. Juraj Slavkovsky scores not too long after that.
Well, I think 3 weeks ago, Philadelphia's here on a Saturday night. Bad start, first 6 minutes of the game for Montreal. Carrier takes a double minor for high sticking. Montreal's all over the Philly power play. They almost score shorthanded on them. And then for the rest of the period, the Montreal Canadiens were in the driver's seat. And if it wasn't for Sam Ersson, they would have certainly had the lead. But it took until the third period for them to get out in front. And from that point, they never looked back. So, I thought we saw an example of that 3 weeks ago right here. And then we see another example of it tonight where Montreal's penalty kill right now, the only thing they've really given up is that down low short or far side opportunity where the Caps looked to set up Wilson. They did a much better job. Mike Matheson was all over the puck carrier as soon as, if it was Strome or Carlson, whoever it was down low that got it. Mike Matheson's right on that. Montreal not leaving a whole lot of ways for pucks to get through to Alexander Ovechkin, who has not been a factor here on the power play. 1 for 10 now for the Washington Capitals. The one power play goal, of course, coming from Alexander Ovechkin early in the series. But since the series has shifted to Montreal, it's been a completely different story on the PK here, where the Habs have not looked fallible at all in the last game and a half now.
And, we were waiting, but that second period, welcome to the Ivan Demidov show.
Yeah, great move off the near side. We're going to see a lot of that over the years. And, it seems pretty much right at home on that first power play unit, right? I think that's the biggest thing for him right now is he needs to find ways to get space and time for himself and make that adjustment. But he's going to get that on the power play, right? Guys don't play as aggressively on the PK as they do 5-on-5, especially when they're in their own defensive zone. And Demidov did a great job of identifying holes in coverage, and I think that he's always going to be a pass-first guy. I think that's what's going to make him such an electric player in this market for such a long time. He's going to be a setup guy first, and as you mentioned, Mitch, great example for sure on the feed to Slavkovsky in front. But it's again impressive to me that with the lineup changed with Laine out, and now Demidov coming in on the first power play unit, he hasn't looked out of place at all. He's fit right in.
We'll let you get ready for the third period. It should be a really exciting one after what we saw in the second.
Thanks, Mitch.
There is Victor Finley, our play-by-play man. It's Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690. Canadiens lead the Capitals 2-1 after 2. Coming up next, we'll get you caught up with the out-of-town scoreboard.
When things start heating up on the ice, count on Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling to keep the temperature comfortable in every zone of your home.
Mitsubishi Electric, official heating and cooling partner of the Montreal Canadiens and your partner in home comfort since 1987.
Beer, chips, popcorn. Score big at your neighborhood voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
For almost 60 years, Delmar has transformed logistics challenges into effortless experiences. Delmar's global freight forwarding solutions, powered by logistics technology, ensures your cargo travels from origin to destination with the expertise, agility, and speed you need. And with Delmar's customs brokerage, warehousing and distribution, and supply chain consulting solutions, you will experience the simplicity of a logistics partner fully equipped to help you grow. Visit delmarcargo.com today to connect with an expert. Delmar, logistics made simple.
For over 10 years, Novo has teamed up with thousands of employers to establish high-performance OHS game plans. We excel in our field by providing top-level, comprehensive, and integrated occupational health, safety, well-being, and human resources services. Being part of your success is our greatest motivation and pushes us to innovate every day. Together, we are creating healthy, dedicated, and safe workplaces. Novo is a proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Simplify the optimization of your supply chain with Delmar. For almost 60 years, Delmar has provided integrated solutions with innovative technologies, transforming logistics challenges into effortless experiences. Visit delmarcargo.com to connect with an expert. Delmar, logistics made simple.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech.
Canadiens hockey is presented by Essor Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens hockey here on TSN 690. Canadiens lead the Washington Capitals by a score of 2-1. Let's get you caught up with the out-of-town scoreboard. 2 games already done. The St. Louis Blues beat up on the Winnipeg Jets 5-1. Connor Hellebuck chased from the net in that one. Jordan Binnington made 30 saves in the win. Jake Neighbors had 3 points, including a goal. Braden Shen with a goal and an assist. Carolina Hurricanes topped the New Jersey Devils 5-2. Andrei Svechnikov had a hat trick. Frederik Andersen left that game with injury after a collision with Timo Meier. Peter Kochetkov came in. Timo Meier and Jacob Slavin also scored for Carolina. And later tonight, 9:30 puck drop. Edmonton Oilers and the LA Kings in Game 4. LA leads that series 2-1. That's your out-of-town scoreboard. Coming up next, the third period between Montreal and Washington. Habs up by a score of 2-1. Victor Finley and John Goyens with the call on TSN 690.
$1 wings, $1 wings, $1 wings. Boston Pizza has the ultimate lineup. During every Montreal game this season, our wings are only $1 each at Boston Pizza. Come in for some delicious wings, an ice-cold Molson, and a great game. Now that's a winning trio. Visit bostonpizza.com to find a Boston Pizza near you and reserve your table. Boston Pizza is the place to be. See details in restaurant.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
This is Montreal Canadiens hockey on your home of the Habs, TSN 690.
Looking to update your home decor? Start with MF Paints. For your kitchen, living room, bathroom, patio, you'll want to paint it all. MF Paints, 100% Canadian-made paints and stains, preferred by professionals and DIYers alike. Available throughout Quebec at your local retailer.
Logistics don't need to be complicated. With Delmar's technology stack, digitally manage your supply chain logistics from purchase order to final delivery and everything in between with Delmar. Discover the benefits of real-time cargo visibility, proactive milestone updates, easy document retrieval, simplified communications, and more. Say goodbye to email ping pong with your logistics provider and transform your intricate logistics challenges into effortless experiences with Delmar. Visit delmarcargo.com today to connect with an expert. Delmar, logistics made simple.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Inside Bell Center, where it's a 2-1 lead for the Montreal Canadiens. Going to the third period, John Goyens alongside me, Victor Finley, tonight on the call. I am above center ice at our TSN 690 broadcast booth. John, this is a bit of an unfamiliar situation with the Montreal Canadiens defending a lead going into the third period.
Yeah, and defending a lead when you only have 9 shots on net through 2 periods of play. It's whatever it is, however they got there, hey, they're up by 1. They cannot just think purely defend, because you'll play a period on your heels and all of a sudden you'll just give the 1 or 2 inches of space that Washington requires to get their game rolling.
So Lane Hudson with a pair of assists now tonight, up to 5 assists in the Stanley Cup playoffs so far this year. Mentioned he tied Larry Murphy's rookie record for assists in a regular season as a defenseman was 60. Larry Murphy had another 115 over 215 playoff games, including 4 Stanley Cups. But nonetheless, a promising start to the postseason career of Lane Hudson here as well, as both he and Ivan Demidov have set up the 2 power play goals for Montreal. Habs are 2 for 3 on the man advantage tonight. Caps are 0 for 5. It has been a game of specialty teams through 40 as we drop the puck on period number 3. Canadiens up 2-1, trying to tie this series tonight. 2-2 going back to Washington for game 5 as the Capitals shoot it in from center ice. Deep into the Montreal zone, picked away by Mike Matheson. In the corner with Connor McMichael. Now Carrier pinned up along the end boards. Tries to get away from Tom Wilson. He'll pass it ahead to Gallagher. That's shoveled out through center ice. And off the boards from Josh Anderson. Dvorak lost the stick. Another penalty upcoming to the Washington Capitals as Wilson's got a hold of Gallagher. And that's going to draw a crowd along the near side. And 27 seconds in, check that, 37 seconds in to the third period. The Canadiens are going back to the power play.
Washington's got to be smart here because they're already getting the original. And from our vantage point, Montreal did not engage in any of the stupidities to try to, retaliate or anything like that. It just looked like all Washington. For Washington, you can't become unhinged 37 seconds into the third period down by 1 goal.
And Dvorak's in
28, Montreal, 6, Washington roughing, 74, minor, slash.
So the extra minor to Washington. John Carlson sits in the box, and the Canadiens will go to the power play for the 4th time tonight, presented by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
I think the Canadiens take that trade-off. You got the entire top D pair for the Washington Capitals out for the entirety of this PK.
And Dvorak, who doesn't play on the first power play unit. So it'll be Nick Suzuki versus Nick Dowd. Face-off far side, Washington zone. Scrum off the draw, it rolls right over to Thompson. He'll throw that aside for Brandon Duhaime, who rockets it off the glass past Suzuki all the way down the ice. Now, Lane Hudson behind his own net. Skating ahead to center. Slavkovsky drops it back for Nick Suzuki. Carries in over the Washington blue line. Down low, it comes all the way around for Uri Slavkovsky. Up top, Lane Hudson, far wing. Demidov off to Suzuki. Quick pass for Caulfield, just missed. Caulfield near side. Up top for Lane Hudson. Caulfield down low. Suzuki back across. That does not find the mark as it's fielded off the boards by Demidov. Ivan Demidov up top. Hudson back over. Caulfield shot right at Logan Thompson, who makes the save and covers up the rebound in the blue paint.
Demidov being added to this power play unit is an element that not many power plays across the league have. A guy that can fake the shot. He is that mix between a Kucherov and a Patrick Kane. Threat to shoot, threat to deke, threat to fake a shot, back to, he's finding lanes out there. The kid, every opportunity on the power play is getting more and more comfortable, and he's elevating his play every chance he gets.
Capitals make their line change here as Nick Down will step in for the face-off against Alex Newhook. Second unit now on the ice for Montreal. A minute 2 to go in this man advantage. Just underway in the start of the third period. Habs up 2-1. Capitals win the face-off back. Far side, thrown around the boards and out by Tom Wilson. Down to the Montreal zone it goes. Here's Matheson from behind his own net. Slowly ahead to center, drops it back. Picked up by Alex Newhook. Charging through center ice, off to Suzuki. Back up top, here's Mike Matheson. Walks along the blue line. Passes down low. Thrown around the boards. Suzuki up top for Matheson. Far side, swing and a miss from Heineman, who fanned on the one-timer. Near side, Matheson throws it to the net. That deflected off of Van Riemsdyk and wide. Down low, Gallagher tied up. Capitals chance to clear it, and they do. As this goes the distance with just 10 seconds left in the minor penalty. It'll be Chychrun who's going to step out of the box first for Washington. Here goes Newhook, near side. Down the left wing, skates in behind the net. Newhook. Power play over, shot from Carrier, directed wide of the net. Behind, Evans tried to center, that's picked off. And Brandon Duhaime skates it to the neutral zone for Washington as he chips it in. Follows after a near corner. Canadiens bank it out to center. Anderson throws it up the middle. Armia's shot. Not stopped by Thompson. Got him right in the chin of the mask. He's back to the far corner. Ovechkin tracks it down, plays it back behind his own net. 16:45 to go in the third. 2-1 Montreal lead. Here goes Rasmus Sandin. Stretching to center ice. That's tipped in. Caden Gooley was back behind his own net. Over to Suzuki. Back to Gooley. He'll pass it off the boards now to Slavkovsky. Slavkovsky to center. Stick handles in over the line. Up the middle. Passes off. Suzuki up top. Gooley with a one-time rip. That's wide. Now Lane Hudson. Cross ice. Suzuki looking back in front for Slavkovsky. That's broken up as Gooley chops it down low. Chychrun fending off Caulfield. Jacob Chychrun passes over. Roy directs this into the Montreal zone. That's deflected, no icing. Gooley banks it over to Slavkovsky. Played back for Gooley. And behind the net, bit of a collision there at center. As the ire of the crowd. As Gooley passes off to Emil Heineman. Stretching out through center. Kapanen far side. Cut off by Rasmus Sandin. Played off the boards. Now out through center. Here goes Andrew Mangiapane up the middle. Off to Ryan Leonard. Backhand pass doesn't get through. He goes to the corner of a Jack-Eye. Jack-Eye picks up the puck. Backhands that to center ice. And the Capitals regain possession. Leonard chips it in. All the way to the end boards. David Savard works it around far side. Here's Oliver Kapanen. Snaps that right over to Jack-Eye. He'll flip it in. Bouncing toward the net. This is settled down by Alexander Alexiev. And the Capitals come away to center ice. Beauvillier over to Matt Roy. Onside. Takes a weird bounce off the boards. Immediately picked up by Montreal. And Arbor Jack-Eye will flip it to center. 14:41 to go in the third. 2-1 Canadiens. Here's Taylor Radish tied up with Evans. Picked up now by Hudson. And that's quickly swatted away, but it stays in the zone as Newhook is pickpocketed. And the Capitals come back to center. Newhook drives Radish into the boards. And the Canadiens claim possession again in their own zone. Hudson tied up with Beauvillier. As here goes Evans. Passing through for Demidov, far side. Kept to the outside by Chychrun. Pass to the line. Hudson bounces out in front. And there's Newhook trying to chop that on net. He missed. Goes back to the line. Gooley lays it around the boards. Far side. Ranging in is Mike Matheson. Made back to the open wing. Here goes Tom Wilson, right side. He's ridden into the boards by Anderson. Now here goes Dylan Strome into the attacking zone. Strome turns around, passes over far side. Wilson fires the shot. Save made by Dobish. Now Oliver Kapanen under pressure from Brandon Duhaime. Big hit from Tom Wilson as he throttles Alex Carrier. And Carrier slow to his feet at center. Now lob back into the Montreal zone. Picked up Duhaime, the shot, rebound in front, they score! Tom Wilson belts Carrier at center. Caps get the line change, and then the loose puck in front squeaks through Jakub Dobish to tie the game at 2.
And again, you mentioned to me off air how impressed you were with the guys on the fourth line for the Washington Capitals. Their ability to get in there, be heavy, chip away, and it's get in behind their D. Duhaime, McMichael is on, but it's Duhaime who makes the play. But as you also pointed out, you cannot discount the absolute thunderous hit by Tom Wilson on Alex Carrier at the red line.
Carrier is still on the bench for Montreal, but it took him a while to get back up and going.
He still has the trainer, Sebastian Buna, right over his left shoulder, kind of just sticking with him right there. They're going to keep an eye on him for a little bit.
So Brandon Duhaime scores a big goal for Washington. That's his first of the playoffs. And we are all knotted up at 2 apiece. 13-13 to go in the third period. Here go the Capitals. Hit from center. Lars Eller rolls it in. Near side corner. Montreal zone. Picked up by Andrew Mangiapane. Behind the Montreal net. Mangiapane over to Lars Eller right side. Trying to spin away from Arbor Jacki. Lars Eller shields the puck along the boards. Cycles it down low. It goes right to Alex Newhook. And then a hit is thrown on Ryan Leonard as here goes Jake Evans the other way, driving the net, and this will be fielded by Thompson. He settles it down to cover up. And some rough stuff after the whistle here with Alex Newhook and Andrew Mangiapane. The goal, by the way, is officially Brandon Duhaime from Jacob Chychrun at 6:39 of the third.
All right. Yeah, Chychrun got the loose puck after the Tom Wilson hit, and it put him in a position to just air it out for Duhaime.
12:37 to go in our third period. And a 2-2 game on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
An unforgettable weekend awaits you for the 18th edition of Osheaga, presented by Bell in collaboration with Coors Light. With The Killers, Tyler the Creator, and Olivia Rodrigo as headliners. Experience the ultimate summer adventure with Gracie Abrams, Glass Animals, The Chainsmokers, Shabuzi, and many more. Join us in Montreal at Parc Jean Drapeau from August 1st to 3rd. Tickets on sale now at Osheaga.com.
Hey everyone, Adney and Verk here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch this movie because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheetah exhibit. The cheetah took a piece out of him, and he came into the ring the next day.
Tune in to NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Beer, chips,
Popcorn! Score big at your neighborhood Voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
There's nothing like hockey night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Back inside Bell Center, 12:37 to go in the third 2-2 game. John, a lot of activity at the bench surrounding Alex Carrier during that last time out.
Well, we were discussing the potential of a spotter taking him out. We've seen, like I mentioned several times, Sebastian Buna has been with Alex Carrier since he's been back to the bench, right over his shoulder. He even looks like he's treating the bottom part of his neck there, and he's been in constant communication with Stefan Robida, the D coach.
Long pass here from Washington. That goes off the boards. It goes right to Dobish, who will cover it up. So Carrier, at least for now, stays in the game. He's not been pulled down the tunnel by the spotter.
His legs looked like they were jello when he got up. So that's why I'm really surprised he's still at the bench.
Face off in the Montreal zone. We haven't seen Carrier take a shift since getting freight trained by Tom Wilson. Dylan Strome loses the face-off to Christian Dvorak. Here goes Gooley. He's out there with Matheson right now. And now Josh Anderson down the near side with a shot. Blocker to side by Logan Thompson. Now behind the net, Gallagher in front. That's poked just wide of the net by Anderson. Far side, Beauvillier. Chychrun moves it around. Strome up to center. Feeds Beauvillier far side. Puck rolling in toward Dobish. Steered to side of the corner. Beauvillier's got no stick as he's taken down to the ice by Gooley. Now here goes Lane Hudson speeding ahead to center ice. Left side, hits the brakes. From the line, there's a shot knocked down in front by Thompson. Rebound quickly scooped up by the Capitals. Now Sandin through center ice, in on the right side, backhands it around the boards. Comes over to Tom Wilson. McMichael drops it to the point. Long shot from Pierre-Luc Dubois is easily scooped up and hung on to by Jakub Dobish with 11:31 to go in the third.
Yeah, it looked like Pierre-Luc Dubois was trying to time it with Connor McMichael darting to the net to try to get a tip or deflection. Nifty, also a very nifty little play by Tom Wilson as the puck rimmed around the wall, and he just kind of one-touched it to an open space, creating a little bit more opportunity for the Washington Capitals.
Tie game, 2 goals apiece. Face off to the blocker side of Jakub Dobish. Pierre-Luc Dubois with Tom Wilson and Connor McMichael. Jake Evans on for Montreal. Jack Guy and Matheson are the defenders here. Quick shot from Tom Wilson. Sails wide off the glass. Back into the near side corner. Jake Evans scoops it up. He'll drop it around for Arbor Jack Guy. Jack Guy banks it off the boards to center. Here's Alex Newhook. Crossing in over the Washington line. Drops it off. Yoel Armia. Far side. Matheson waits. Tries the shot. That goes wide. Into the near side corner. Tom Wilson battles with Jake Evans. Capitals take it away. Here goes Dubois to center, off the glass. Stolen away by Yoel Armia. Now thrown in by Alex Newhook. Canadians get their first line onto the ice. Matt Roy up to his own line, stopped by Caulfield. And now Caulfield's got it. Far side, Suzuki trying to pass it in front. That's off a leg, and it goes all the way down the ice. Capitals get away with one there. They will be charged with icing with 10:35 to go on the clock.
Yeah, and it starts with Matt Roy. He just breeds the dump in incorrectly. He's got Pierre-Luc Dubois that's darted to the far blue line in a stretch position so that they can get it up the ice, tip it in, and get some changes. And he misplays it not once, but twice. Caulfield keeps it in, and it leads to the opportunity to scramble by Washington, forcing them to ice the puck.
Suzuki's line stays on. Face off on the far side. Gooley and Hudson at the blue line. Pierre-Luc Dubois still on the ice for Washington. And Suzuki wins the faceoff. Here's Lane Hudson. Tries the shot. That sails wide. Picked up off the boards and thrown right off the referee. Capitals can't get it out yet. It's toward the line. Goulet takes a stab at it. Down the wing it goes. Into the corner, Slavkovsky. Works off pressure from Taylor Radish. Well, it spins it around, it's out of play. And that's a break for the Capitals, who needed a line change.
They absolutely needed that stoppage again. They get it within a couple feet of that blue line and are incapable of grinding it out, or at least over that blue line, to get some fresh changes, force Montreal to tag up.
So face off, near side on Thompson. The Oliver Kapanen in to take it for Montreal. He's played just 3 minutes and 47 seconds of ice time tonight. He gets an ozone face-off here. Canadians win it, but it's done improperly. So they will drop the puck again. Kapanen on the ice with Heineman and Armia. Heineman's played just 6:22 of ice time as well tonight. We haven't seen much out of this line. Joel Armia, with the penalty kill time, is up to 12:45 on the night.
Right, special teams have been a factor in how much of the bench, or the depth of the bench, that Martin St. Louis has used.
Capitals win this face-off and start from their own zone. This is lifted out by Brandon Duhaime, and that caught a piece of David Savard. It flies off of him and out of play.
And Radish was lucky because he took a bit of a baseball swing at that, and he almost got David Savard in the face. That would have easily been another penalty.
So neutral zone face-off now, as the Lars Eller line steps on for Washington. Eller with Mangiapane and Leonard. Kapanen remains on with his line mates from Montreal. 10:02 to go in the third. We are tied at 2 at the Bell Center tonight. Kapanen wins the face-off. Back for David Savard. Across for Arbor Jackeye. Back to Savard. Plays that round the boards. That's tipped out through center by Emil Heineman. And corralled by Andrew Mangiapane. Trevor Van Riemsdyk behind his own net. Passes ahead. This might be a breakaway. Mangiapane is tracked down by Kaida Goulet and steered right into the corner. Capitals almost caught Montreal in a line change there as they battle for it along the end boards. Puck comes loose for Arbor Jackeye. Now swatted out to center by Kapanen. Here goes Heineman making a beeline for it, end of a shift. And he wins the race. Into the corner with Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Puck comes loose for Goulet. Heineman curls it back around the boards. Now Beauvillier sets it back up for Dylan Strome. Here's Van Riemsdyk. Ahead to Leonard. Out through center ice. Here goes Dylan Strome. Far side. Strome hangs on behind the net. Now tried to center it off the near side. That's broken up. Canadians come out to center. Anderson far side. In on Chychrun. Anderson tried to center. Took a deflection off a Chychrun stick. It's caught by Logan Thompson. 8:45 to go in the third. Score tied at 2. Shots 23-12 in favor of the Washington Capitals. Back in a moment here on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Are you looking for a damage insurance broker that specializes in commercial insurance? There is only one name, SR Insurance. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, SR Insurance brokers are the perfect advisors for you. With more than 65 years experience, SR Insurance is proud of its team of brokers who stand out for their ability to select the best products for your business. Call 833-370-2704 or visit sr.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fibre, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
The best rotisserie chicken is slow roasted with love at Saint-Hubert. This spring, enjoy our locally sourced chicken in 1,001 ways with one of our 3 sauces, including the brand new spicy Asian sauce. Try our new rotisserie items, such as the tikka masala quarter leg and rib combo, or our Saint-Hub bowl topped with rotisserie chicken breast. Whatever you're in the mood for, our tasty locally sourced chicken will satisfy everyone's tastes. Discover our new products for a limited time. Details at saintshubert.com. Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back inside the Bell Center. 8:45 to go in the third. Tie game 2-2. And John, Alex Carrier, at least for now, has gone down the tunnel and is not of use, not available to Martin St. Louis.
No, ever since he took that hit from Tom Wilson, he did not move from his spot on the bench, and now he's in the locker room.
Ozone face-off for Montreal. It's controlled by Demidov, far side corner. Skates in behind the net. Demidov back to the line. Matheson, long-range shot. Save made in front. Rasmus Sandin clears it off the glass out to center ice. Capitals steer it in. Gooley goes back for it. Far side corner. Matheson out to center for Jake Evans. Passes over to Newhook. Back for Evans. Looking up the middle for Gooley. Loose in front for Newhook. And Thompson shuts the door. Back to the line. Matheson. Passing off for Gooley. That missed the mark. Rolls down low for Demidov. Demidov steers it back over to Gooley. Under pressure. Able to hold it in. And the Capitals finally work it out to center for a waiting Mike Matheson. Canadiens back to their own zone. Here goes Nick Suzuki out through center. Off to Caulfield, quickly swatted away by Dowd. And the Canadiens control in their own zone. Played out through center ice. That's off the linesman. Comes back to center. Now Jack Guy's turn. He'll shoot it in. And it comes around to the corner for Chychrun. Played back to the near side. Goes past Suzuki. Off the boards. Flown out to center by John Carlson. Now David Savard. Over to Jack Guy. Picking up the wing for Caulfield. Carlson moves it ahead for Nick Dowd. Good pass through the middle. Here's Beauvillier. Waits, takes the shot. What a play by David Savard. He got a stick on it. Beauvillier far side. Back up top, Strome. Over to Roy. Right side, Chychrun. Now Beauvillier in the corner. Played back around the boards. Dylan Strome. Tied up. Suzuki tries to clear it out, and he does. As it'll be picked up by Matt Roy in his own end. 6.5 to go. Tie game, 2 goals apiece. Matt Roy from behind his own net starts ahead with a pass to center. That's chipped in by Mangiapane. Capitals racing after it. It's picked up by Josh Anderson. 3-on-3 out to center ice. Anderson chips it ahead. Down the wing. Here goes Gooley left side. Deep to Washington territory. Scrum forward in the corner. Pops out in front. And waiting for it is Ryan Leonard. He'll beeline out to center ice. Lars Eller passes over. Far side. Mangiapane centers. No one there for Washington. Now Gooley behind his own net. Up to Dvorak. Canadiens need a line change. Nice move by Dvorak, but he's going to drop it back and ensure that the Habs get fresh skaters onto the ice. Dubois, Wilson, and McMichael on for Washington. Evans, Newhook, and Demidov for Montreal. Here goes Evans left side. Passes back to the point. Matheson far side. One-time shot. That's a rip from Jack Guy. Wide of the mark. It comes all the way back out through center ice. Matheson chased down by Connor McMichael. Far side Montreal zone. Demidov works it out to center. Past Sandin. And Matt Roy goes back to bail out the Capitals as Jake Evans was trying to hunt that puck down. Sandin turns around in his own zone. Up to center. Tom Wilson with it. For Dubois near side boards. He's tied up by Jack Guy. Matheson backtracking. In behind his own net for Nick Suzuki. Suzuki drops it off to Matheson. Up to center ice. Matheson rolls it in over the Washington blue line. Far side, Chychrun moves it up the boards. Brandon Duhaime ahead to center. Here's Taylor Radish. In on the far wing, drops it back. John Carlson for Nick Dow. Into the Montreal zone. Here's Chychrun up top. Carlson right side. Played into the corner. Radish moves it over to Dowd. Back up top. Across it comes for John Carlson. Moved wide of the net. Matheson pinned up along the end boards behind his own net. Loose in the far corner. Slavkovsky moves it back around. Near side, Caulfield able to sweep it out to center ice. 4:10 to go in the third. Tied at 2. Now Anthony Beauvillier. Off to Chychrun. He'll snap it in from center. Round it comes. Lane Hudson moves it back to the far side for Juraj Slavkovsky. Pressured by Dylan Strome. Hoisted out to center by Dvorak. All the way down the ice. And no icing. Didn't have enough gas in the tank as Trevor Van Riemsdyk sets up for behind his own net. Stretch pass to center. Here's Dylan Strome. Drops it off up the middle. Shot. Mangiapane scores. Off the drop from Dylan Strome, the Capitals come back to take a 3-2 lead.
The D need to communicate there as Gooley cruises over to match the zone entry by Strome. You can't have both D's stepping up, and then Jack-Eye goes for the big hit, and then one little drop pass creates the 2-on-1, and they had to respect the 2-on-1. Dvorak had to respect it, and Mangiapane decides to rip it instead of dishing it to Alex Ovechkin.
So Mangiapane, who gets onto the ice with Strome and Ovechkin, scores his first goal of the Stanley Cup playoffs. As the Washington Capitals score 2 in the third period. Brandon Duhaime from Chychrun and Van Riemsdyk at 6:39. And now Mangiapane from Strome and Van Riemsdyk, who picks up another assist at 16:23.
This is what Washington needed, secondary scoring. Up until the second goal of the game for Washington, they had only had 4 forwards score in this series.
3:37 to go in the game. Canadiens now down 3-2. Capitals chip this out through center. Into the Montreal zone. Jake Evans sweeps it back up to the neutral zone. It's picked off by Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Big collision at the Montreal line. That was Jack-Eye running into Tom Wilson. Capitals out in front. There's a look for Pierre-Luc Dubois. And Dobish with a big save. Here go the Canadiens back the other way. That would have been a dagger. And Pierre-Luc Dubois put that home. And it's back into the near side. Washington zone it comes. Evans digging for it. Sandin pokes it away. Matheson pinching in. Sent toward the net and just wide by Evans. Back up top to the blue line. Connor McMichael's got no stick for Washington. Matheson up top. Hudson unloads a one-timer. That's caught through traffic by Thompson. And he'll squeeze that for the way. So with 2:47 to go in the third, we will take our final TV timeout of this period with the Capitals up 3-2 on Montreal and Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
At IGA, we help you save with our new Verified Prices promotion. Every week, check the front page of our flyer to discover our offers. Enjoy the lowest prices on selected products or automatically receive the difference in Scene Plus points. It's guaranteed. No proof required at checkout. IGA. Peace of mind is everything. For a limited time at participating stores. Details in the flyer and at IGA.net.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite pho shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars.
Hey sports fans, thank you for hanging out with us and chatting it up. We're thrilled to bring you the Playoff Pulse. Catch every single NHL and NBA playoff game right here while supporting an incredible cause, SickKids Hospital. Together, we can make a difference with every single view.
Holy Mackinac! Joe Bowen here, the voice of your Toronto Maple Leafs. Every moment you watch on Toronto Sports Insider helps SickKids Hospital. 100% of Leafs playoff stream revenue goes straight to their life-saving care, helping kids in our community and beyond. This is what Playoff Pulse is all about, bringing playoff excitement and making a lasting impact for those who need it most. So let's rally together and show SickKids we're in their corner.
Hey everyone, Easton Cowan here. Let's amplify our impact. Every like, share, and subscribe boost our donations to SickKids. Watch the games, get hyped, and spread the word to grow our playoff Pulse community. Join us now.
Going all in the Washington zone to try and tie this up. Here's Suzuki. Off the face-off. Demidov steers it to the blue line. Hudson, that's picked off. Capitals 2-on-1 through center. Dowd passes over to Duhaime, the shot, and he scores! Almost right off the face-off, the Capitals take it away and pull ahead 4-2 with an empty netter with 2:39 remaining in the game.
Again, this is what you want to do to an offensive team, whether it be power play, 6-on-5, is if you could get them caught outside dots, corner of the blue line, standing still, you could apply 2-point pressure, 3-point pressure, and you force them to either just rim it or overhandle. And in this case, Lane Hudson tried to make a pass that was not available and turns it over, and you got savvy veterans like Nick Dowd and Brandon Duhaime close on him and execute for the empty net goal. It's the most visibly upset we've ever seen Lane Hudson this season.
And he was annoyed with himself after the first goal tonight too for Washington, but he was clearly distraught going back to the bench. He's going to stay on the ice here. We are 5-on-5, still 2.5 to go. We have seen crazier happen this season in Montreal as the Habs win the face-off back to their own zone. Hudson lays it behind the net for Juraj Slafkovsky. Slafkovsky ahead to center. One-touch pass from Gallagher over to Hudson. Canadiens gain the zone. Hudson near side. Slafkovsky, extra attacker, is on the ice. Caulfield near side. Back up top for Lane Hudson. 6-on-5. Habs moving around. Caulfield tried to snap that in front. Pass was blocked by John Carlson. Caulfield near side. Passes down low to Gallagher. Back over to Caulfield. Mishandled it. It comes out to center ice. Minute 55 to go. Capitals up 4-2. This is rattled in off the boards. Chychrun in the corner. Over to Carlson. Bounces it out to center ice. And Ivan Demidov goes back to pick it up for Montreal. Now Caulfield over to Demidov. Down the near side wing. Skates it in. Tries a shot. Blocker save made by Thompson. Caulfield back to the line. It goes all the way out to center ice. Now Caulfield in the neutral zone. Quick pass off to Juraj Slafkovsky. Now Lane Hudson flips it in on Thompson. Gloves it down. Keeps it moving. John Carlson powers that around the boards. Near side corner. Caulfield back to the line. And Lane Hudson has to go out to center ice to settle down the bouncing puck. And as the Canadiens reset, Caulfield shoots it in. Still 6-on-5. Picked up far side boards by Nick Suzuki. Now taken away by Connor McMichael. Passed it through for Tom Wilson. Shot at the empty net, and he scores. And Tom Wilson makes sure the fans know it.
Public enemy number one.
As he has made this a 5-2 game. Now Tom Wilson's really soaking in this moment here, John.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the play developing. You're like, oh boy, Tom Wilson snipes this. First of all, he went basically top corner, ripped this, and then celebrated right in the fans' face here. Down by section, 108, right up against the glass. They weren't too pleased.
Now the first empty netter, Brandon Duhaime, is second of the night for Nick Dowd. This will be Tom Wilson's first goal of the series. 19:05 in the third period. Final minute here. Capitals up 5-2. Trevor Van Riemsdyk in his own zone. Passes over to Alexiev. Out to center ice. Ryan Leonard with it. Takes a knock from Yoel Armia, and then Leonard stick snaps in two. Armia works it in far side. There's going to be an offside here at the Washington blue line with 25 and a half seconds remaining in the third period.
You see Ryan Leonard, he's been gritty all the entire series. He's had some rough shifts. He's had some other shifts that he's looked a little bit better. He's still trying to get his footing here in this league, but he's trying to really be tough to play against right till the very end.
Face-off win for the Capitals, who drag it back to their own zone. Van Riemsdyk feeds it ahead for Taylor Radish. Now Alexiev back over to Van Riemsdyk. Final 10 seconds. Capitals will skate it around. Well, Montreal had the 1-goal lead going to the third period tonight, and a chance to try and level this series at 2. When instead, the Washington Capitals, with 1, 2, 3, 4 unanswered, 2 into the empty net, storm back to take a 5-2 win tonight in Montreal and a 3-1 series lead.
It's close. Brandon Duhaime goes to get Alexiev goes to get the loose puck here. Every team has a little ritual post-game, and they want to keep the pucks, and as he goes to get it, Jack-Eye was not too kind. He wasn't a friendly neighbor.
Time now for the play of the game, brought to you by Tim Hortons, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Hoisted out to center by Dvorak, all the way down the ice, and no icing. Didn't have enough gas in the tank as Trevor Van Riemsdyk sets up for behind his own net. Stretch past to center. Here's Dylan Strome, drops it off up the middle. Shot! Mangiapane scores! Off the drop from Dylan Strome, the Capitals come back to take a 3-2 lead. There's Andrew Mangiapane. First goal of the playoffs, your game winner tonight. Here are the Molson 3 stars of the game.
La troisième étoile, le third star, Brandon Duhaime. La deuxième étoile, the second star, Mike Matheson. Et la première étoile, the first star, Dylan Strome.
So there you go, your 3 stars tonight. Brandon Duhaime, originally from St. Bruno, Quebec. Mike Matheson, second star out of Pointe Claire, Quebec. And the first star of the night for the Washington Capitals, Dylan Strome out of Mississauga, Ontario. 5-2 the final score this evening in Montreal. It will be 2 days before we gather once again to play Game 5 of this series on Wednesday, April 30th, last day of the month, at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Montreal and Washington, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. An elimination game with the Capitals up 3-1 in this best-of-7 series. That is it for our live game coverage tonight, but plenty more post-game coverage coming your way as we hand it off to Mitch Gallo, your host for the Delmar post-game show.
Thank you very much, Victor. Coming up on the Delmar post-game show.
Perform. It's a winner or go home situation. And what are the skill sets that are required to do that? Obviously, we've practiced our game and honed our skill set for years and years and years, tens of thousands of hours of honing our skills. But emotionally, mentally, what prepares you to play in those moments and perform when you're expected to? That, I think, is what really defines a Game 7 moment for the players that have excelled in Game 7 moments. And what are those life lessons that we can teach our young boys and girls and the skill sets required to do that? The breathing, it's being able to slow your heart down and your blood pressure goes up and your decision-making is rash and concentration varies because of all of it. What allows you to kind of really slow down and use your God-given talent, and then obviously the repetitions through your whole life that you know you can do it. You just got to be able to do it when it matters most. It's like hitting a home run and, like Aaron Boone did, or doing something special at the right moments. And I think the educational part of the docuseries is really fascinating to me there to help our young boys and girls who will be faced with big decisions in their life. And you don't have to be a sport fan to have a Game 7 moment in life. Everybody's faced with decisions that are going to alter the trajectory of their lives in one way or another there. And we're trying to figure out what those skill sets are.
What does it feel like to lose a Game 7?
Fortunately for me, I never experienced what the Oilers did last year of going all the way to the end in a championship game and losing in a Game 7. Anytime you get to a Game 7, it's a hard journey to get there. Two teams, evenly matched. It's been a war. It's been a tug of war. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's tired. And then to lose that is devastating. I think about my own experience in Game 7, winning 7 of them. The 2 still hurt to this day. What could I have done different? You know, you always say that you got to lose in order to understand how to win. I do agree with that. I think there are lessons in loss and in failure, both as a team and as an individual. If I had my preference, I would have liked to have learned those lessons while I was winning. But unfortunately, that's just not the way it is. But I look back at it now and just think about how grateful I am for all the lessons in wins and the losses, because it really ends up defining who you are as a person and as a player.
SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio is the place for expert advice, strategy, and information from the best fantasy sports analysis to win your league. Plus, hear pick-by-pick coverage of live drafts and interviews with top players, coaches, and team executives on SiriusXM 87.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Sunday, April the 27th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 1 p.m., St. Louis Blues take on the Winnipeg Jets. Blues on Sirius 210 XM 219 and Internet 944. Jets on Internet 951. National feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 91. 3:30 p.m. New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211 XM 220 and Internet 936. Hurricanes on Sirius XM channels 90, Internet 924. 6:30 p.m. Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 934. Capitals on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 950. 9:30 p.m. Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius 210 XM 219 and Internet 930. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, April the 27th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 1 p.m., St. Louis Blues take on the Winnipeg Jets. Blues on Sirius 210 XM 219 and Internet 944. Jets on Internet 951. National feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 91. 3:30 p.m. New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211 XM 220 and Internet 936. Hurricanes on Sirius XM channels 90, Internet 924. 6:30 p.m. Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 934. Capitals on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 950. 9:30 p.m. Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius 210 XM 219 and Internet 930. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 932.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. SiriusXM Fight Nation, SiriusXM 156, and the SXM app.
Hockey Hall of Famer and Stanley Cup champion for the Edmonton Oilers and New York Rangers, Mark Messier joined Scott Laughlin on the morning skate for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio on Channel 91 to discuss the pressures of Game 7 after having played in 9 Game 7s himself, winning 7 of them, and how you can either thrive under pressure or crumble underneath it.
I almost look at Game 7s, Mark, like I do overtime in the Stanley Cup playoffs or overtime in any sporting event where you've got so much pressure on you and every play gets magnified. Could you, during the course of your career, and you don't have to name names, but could you look around the dressing room or could you look on the opposing bench and could you figure out those that wanted to be the hero and those that just wanted to avoid making the mistake? I mean, was that plain for you to see that there were those that wanted the puck on their stick with the game on the line that could thrive under pressure, and then you had the opposite as well?
I felt myself in those moments there defaulting to the more defensive side of the game. And then I played with my right winger who I won 6 Stanley Cups with, Glenn Anderson. He was the kind of guy that was trying to, really drive hard offensively and take the game and try to score the winning goal. And we're on the same line. Maybe that the difference of us in our mentalities worked perfectly. But everybody's wired different. Everybody's got fear, failure. The best have that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to internalize those feelings, but you can't let them paralyze you. And it's for me, going into a Game 7, I allowed myself to visualize what if we didn't win. Leading up to the game, and then slowly as you get closer to the game, you allow yourself to kind of push the negative feelings aside, and you start to fill yourself up with all the great things that are going to happen and what you need to do to execute the game plan, and of course ultimately to seeing yourself holding the trophy. And as the game starts, all the negative and the positive go away, and then you drill yourself down into just executing the game plan. And you don't think about the what ifs and what should have been or what could have been. You just really kind of play in the moment. And I think trust becomes a massive word when you think about it. Can I trust each one of the players that are going out there to not only to do their part from a strategic standpoint, be in the right position, be in the right places at the right time, but not get undisciplined and take poor penalties at the wrong time because their ego is bruised and someone took advantage of them, then being able to hold all that in check. So there's just so many dynamics to think about for a team in order to overcome all the obstacles to win a championship. And it's fascinating to me. It's one of the reasons I was able to play 26 years, because once you do it, you understand how fun it is, but also how complicated and intricate it is to kind of get not only the team from a physical standpoint to come together, but how a team comes together emotionally, mentally, and the spirituality around a team, and the respect that lives inside that locker room is incredible.
Mad Dog Sports Radio has the best sports talk in the business, covering sports with a passion and knowledge you need. Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM 86, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, April the 27th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.